This meeting was provided by sending such notice to the Asbury Park Press, the Middletown Patch, and the Middletown Township Public Schools District website, and the posting of such notice at the August T. Minor administrative offices and each elementary, middle, and secondary school in the district. Amy, roll call.
Mrs. Cavanitti? Here. Mr. Cody?
Here.
Mr. Donlin?
Here.
Mr. Donnelly?
Here.
Mrs. Griffin?
Here.
Mrs. Benoist? Here. Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Mr. Little? Mrs. Walsh?
Here. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to open with our committee of the whole agenda. Technology. We'll start with the CEAC for technology.
Three things on tonight's agenda. The first is going to be a final update on park. As of last week, we successfully completed park. This week was finishing up makeups on the elementary and middle schools. I'd like to thank the administration, staff, and students for doing an excellent job this year. The number of Chromebooks we loaned out this year to students was a fraction of what we loaned last year, which means the students were actually bringing them in charge, bringing them in, and they even had repaired well prior to this park. So everybody around the world did a great job and successful. Second thing I have is our network infrastructure project. On the agenda is a district network infrastructure project and the approval of the turnkey contract. If you're refreshing memory back during budget time, discussing the switching upgrade that will take place with district and all 17 schools. A little background, currently our infrastructure is anywhere between 10 to 13 years old. It's highly antiquated. It runs at a speed of anywhere from 100 megs to 1 gig, which is not fast at all anymore in today's time. The new system that we propose to put in place will run at 10 gig connectivity to all classes and all buildings, with the capability of an easy upgrade to 100 gigs in the future if necessary. The project is considered a Category 2 internal connections with the rate consortium, so it's basically rated over 40% of total cost. The past few months, Amy and myself have worked hard here at Consultant, put up to 470 so that we posted and received bids. The bid for 470 was posted for 28 days as per the guidelines. Last week was 28 days expired, so we were able to evaluate the bids. We received 4 bids, 4 complete bids from 4 different vendors, and we evaluated each bid on 4 major criteria: price, integration with our current infrastructure, management administration of warranty, which also includes additional maintenance costs, maintenance costs, and local or in-state vendors, so that we would ensure quick response time for service if needed. So at that point, we evaluated vendors, which is TTI, Energy Technologies, all the other three. We were able to post our Form 470 last week, which basically states the project will be awarded TTI with the approval of the budget and more importantly, the board approval. Any questions before the third one?
So just to clarify, the contract amount, we have to award the total contract cost of $794,180. However, after we submit it for 40% reimbursement and get money back from E-rate, the net cost to the district would be $476,508. And if you remember, we're funding that split between, there's some remaining funds in our tech lease from this year, and then the other part of the funds is in next year's budget. So, but our net cost will be the $476. We have to award the whole contract up.
To give you a kind of scope of the project, it's a replacement of 143 switches appliances, which is a significant amount. It's also new fiber, internal fiber, in all 17 buildings connecting all their closets. So while we have elementary that have 2 closets, a building like this has 10, 12 closets. So it's a massive project.
Now, Dave, does this include, and maybe I'm wrong here, but does this include, we have switching in 2 areas throughout the district that if one section went down, we could pull from another source?
This is all of our internal connections, all of our wired internal connections.
Internal.
Correct.
External, we're still using for our suppliers that we can still switch to buildings.
Yeah, that does not include our vendors that we use our connectivity through, nor does not include our dark fiber that connects our buildings. It's strictly internal connections. And one of the reasons that we chose this bid was because the manufacturer of the internal hardwire switch is the same manufacturer as our wireless, so it's a seamless integration. So we don't have to have that concern when we have one vendor telling another vendor that it's their equipment that's failing and there's an issue. They're the same vendors, so they know the fingers and pointers for themselves.
So that's going to be, even with our outside suppliers, that switching that we have is going to integrate with this new switch.
David, is all the spark testing complete?
Completely makeup system.
On makeup?
Yeah.
And then the equipment, do you have any problems in any of the schools with any of the equipment?
No, we had our normal hiccups where like an access point is not horrible, we usually reboot within a few minutes to bring it back up. Like I mentioned, the students, specifically as well as the staff, we're well prepared more so now. This is our second year with the one-to-one. Last year was more concerning because it was the first year we didn't have control of devices. We were relying on students to make sure they charge and make sure they bring them in. I think this year it was much smoother. It worked out much better. And like I said, the numbers were a fraction. We had numbers, number of students building, ready to go to schools, and the numbers were significantly lower than the last year. And the final thing I have on is also on the agenda's approval of the technology summer internship program. Most people in education think the summer is schools are closed or they're quiet, and a lot of companies say, what do you do all summer? Anybody who works in school and works 12 months in school knows it's not the case. The minute those students walk in the door, technology department will also facilitate everything else was getting ready for September, it's going back. So it's hectic, it's busy. With the arrival of one-to-one, the responsibility is tenfold. We have to collect and touch 700 devices. We have to clean them, maybe fix them as they're not repaired. We do have students who won't get them repaired if there's a key missing. They just don't want to give it up for a day or two if they have to get a key missing, it's a small dent. In the summertime, we touch every device. When I say we, I say the technology department. We clean them, we prepare them. We decommission the old ones that are going back, or they're no longer use. Set up the new ones and secure the ones. So we're proposing to system responsibility and provide an excellent opportunity for some students. We created four summer paid technology assistant interns. The responsibility will be just what I said, they'll be able to put their hands on the phone, they'll repair them, they'll learn how they work. We have carts in elementary that need to be rebuilt, work with us with building those. It's a program I put in place in my last year, when I worked out, when I did this, we were coming back here, we were getting kids who wanted to college, we still come back because you learn so much. You learn a lot more with your hands than sometimes with a book. They'll be able to see things, they'll see how it actually runs behind the scenes. We show them data before the data runs, it goes to us, it's not a big deal, it's very good. If you're student going in and realizing that there's a lot involved in what, when you turn on a Chromebook, it's not just turning a Chromebook like it. So we're closing now, we create 4 summer paid internships. It'll be for 20 hours per week, and it will be for a total of 6 weeks.
How much? We were projecting, paying at a pay rate of minimum wage and based on 4 interns for 20 hours a week for 6 weeks, you said?
6 weeks.
Right, the total cost would be around $5,400 for the whole summer.
Where will we be getting the interns from?
We will post.
We'll post them, so that, right.
Oh, from our
Oh,
school?
right.
Yeah.
We're looking to
Okay.
hire our
It'll
students.
be our.
How will you decide who gets it?
We'll put it through a sworn interview process, and you'll see things available for the time that we need them, and knowledge and enthusiasm. We already had a few students come to us to also stuff asking if we have such a program. And we kind of started to those questions in place because it's a benefit for the district, because we got extra hands in the summer. And like I said, the students walked away here in the summer with great knowledge of Plus they can go back to their friends and say, listen, be careful on the Chromebooks, I can fix it.
That'd be nice. Great learning opportunity.
It very is, very simple.
Any other questions?
Do we know how we're going to be handing the Chromebooks back in this year, or? is
I've
that-
already started scheduling that with different buildings. We create the schedules for collection and distribution of Chromebooks individually by building and even by grade level. So I started working with South this week. We're setting up their collection last week. Actually, South and I already have scheduled their distribution in August. And I plan to meet with North and the middle schools. The way we've done it in the past, especially for middle schools, is we come through homeroom, where they just extend a homeroom and they just bring them down. We mark, we scan them in, that we have an inventory, and then it's a pretty quick and simple process, and then we go back and evaluate them.
If students are going to summer school, courses, do they have an opportunity to use these Chromebooks during that time?
We collect all the Chromebooks for the summer, but we do have, if the student hasn't showed the need for using visibility on the sign out, yes. We've had not many, but we had a few last year that did sign it out over the summer.
Have we had any lost?
This year, I don't think there are any lost.
That's great.
And the
We've had,
damages
I'm
are cutting
sorry,
down?
let me rephrase it. We've had switches, but not lost, where, student grabs the wrong one, and then we scan it, we take it to the inventory, and then we realize it's not there, and then we go back and find it, but none that have been lost or not found. In year two, we've seen a huge and tremendous increase in responsibility, it's a national there.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave. We'll move on to student services with Bob Duff.
Good evening. We're going to be recommending 42 students for home instruction. We're going to be recommending 3 students for out-of-district placements and 9 students for continued out-of-district placement. We're requesting to establish 3 special class programs. 2 of them are budgeted and one's a name change, so we're going to look to establish an LRD class in High School North and a multiple disabled class in Bayview, both are budgeted, and we're getting an MD class at High School South. We're changing the name of one of the LLDs. We're also proposing continued use of effective school solutions at the high school level. And we're also requesting approval of 35 contracted service providers for the 17 school year.
These home instruction, are these new or just continued?
It's a combination. Some are new, some are continuation.
Change the name of the LLD class? What are you changing?
It's becoming a multiple disabled class. So it's still a special class program, but the class name change is going to be different. We have several, so it's going from an LLD to MD, which is more appropriate for that class.
We did that a while back for one of the classes. There were some questions about what it really meant. Is that an issue here?
The services in the program are going to remain the same. The supports that are involved in the program will all remain the same.
Did we get any notification of what our IDEA funds are this year yet?
Not at this time yet, not yet.
Do we expect them to be the same as this year?
We haven't heard anything from the state that would be significant difference from the past. I think we should be getting.
I'm only saying that because there's a change in your administration in Washington, and I was just wondering if they're cutting in that area.
I haven't heard anything specific related to level of funding.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, but I'm not sure if I should be asking you or Mrs. Walker. It's about the district doctor. Is that under you or
Kind of a
the?
combination of both of us.
Okay. I didn't see a district doctor listed.
However, she was approved for 2 years last year.
Thank you. That answers that question.
Bob, let me just ask you one thing. For next year, do we have any new programs coming back to the district?
I guess the only thing we've established is, like I said, the additional special class program, but nothing, as far as coming back.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Dunn. We'll move on to curriculum and instruction with Kim Pickus.
Chairman of RG discuss curriculum.
Okay. Thank you for putting all that on the website for us to look at? It was long. And thank you for putting up all the curriculums on the information on the website for us.
That's our priority. On the voting agenda, you'll see the workshops, et cetera. So the first item on your workshop. Number 2 is the new and revised. There are 20 curriculum guides that we placed in the board private portal for you all to see, along with descriptions of what's different about these guides compared to prior guides, the highlight pieces, and also drafts of the board pages that you'll see on the agenda next week. In case anybody had any questions to ask us about any of that, we're here. Okay, or you know, reach us via email. We'll be happy to find out whatever you need to know. Okay, and the last comment we wanted to make is the state of New Jersey is requiring that all curriculum guides be aligned to New Jersey student learning standards as opposed to the Common Core standards by September. This is, Ogechi and I have been working on that for quite some time. We're getting very close, and you will find that they're all currently up to date in the library before September. Very few changes. I mean, minor changes in wording have to be made throughout all guides, but we're doing it. Any questions? We're good?
You have your summaries, you have the textbook options, and then...
Hard copies if you want. If anybody
Can I get a hard copy?
Absolutely. Would you like hard copy of just the summary or all the guides?
I'll take the summary. If you have the guides, I'll take them, but
We can have them. Okay, we have them. And one more guide. So we're on. Okay, the summary.
And I just want to thank you guys. I came in earlier this week to look at them, and you guys have done a tremendous amount of work. Thank you.
Textbooks are back in the office.
Yes.
Carol knows with this.
Just a tremendous amount of work.
Thank you.
It's a little light reading.
Sure.
Well, not only that, but the work that they've done this year, writing curriculum.
Okay.
And as I said, humanities, finally, up to date. It'll be time to start over again, but it's amazing.
Good job.
Just going through what you put up on the page, I'm impressed. So, say the
You'll
least.
also find on the board agenda next week the annual list of all the curriculum guides in the district for readoption. Okay? That's everything.
Thank you both very much.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a few updates from the curriculum department this month. We spoke about all of these, 2 of them, actually, the 3 in the past. ESL update, we've been talking about the proposal to establish magnet schools and magnet centers. After further consultation with the state, reviewing the waiver application that we submitted this year, the requirements that were being held to by the state next year, as well as the projected enrollments, and right now they're just projected enrollments because we do have to test all incoming new students to the district to see if they qualify, as well as we're waiting the access scores for this year to see which students will continue in the program and which will exit out. So right now that those numbers are projected, we are going to move forward with meeting with parents at this time to get their input. So the letters have gone out to all the parents of ESL students. We are, Charlene O'Hagan, Natalie Franzi, Jessica Shaw, and myself will be meeting with all of those parents here at High School North on May 30th at 7 p.m. to discuss the proposal of the magnet school centers. Right now, based on the projected numbers, and this can change, and we're going to explain that to them as we monitor those numbers over the next couple of weeks, we are looking to maintain programs at both high schools, the 2 middle schools where we have current enrollment, which would be Bayshore and Thorne, as well as Fairview, and potentially up to 2 additional elementary schools that we're watching enrollment, because it's very close whether or not there will be 1 additional elementary school or 2. We have worked with the transportation office to discuss transportation. Transportation will be provided for all students if they are outside of their home school, their sending zone. That will all be discussed with the parents next, I guess it's 2 weeks from now. We will be getting and soliciting their feedback, any concerns they have. The principals of Mr. Milando will be there. The vast majority of our students are enrolled district-wide at Fairview Elementary School, so he will be attending the meeting as well. I didn't want to forget that. And again, that'll be May 30th at 7 p.m. here at High School North. In addition, we're very excited. We have a lot of planning going on right now. As Mr. Subiak said, the summer is not a time for a lot of rest for those of us who work 12 months. So we're really excited. We're all working together in the curriculum department to create summer staff professional development opportunities for all staff members. The first of which, there will be a team of administrators who who will be attending training with the Danielson Group to further enhance their skills as evaluators and observers using our Danielson model. They'll be going under the direction of some building administrators and some district directors, going with Ms. Shaw and Mrs. O'Hagan. They'll be coming back to turnkey that information to the full administrative team at the end of the summer. So we're very excited about that. Dr. Mailu will be here in the summer offering workshops for our elementary teachers on best practices in mathematics. Mrs. Crusoe is working with him to offer those to our staff. In addition, we're going to be offering workshops on data-driven instruction and multisensory reading techniques and strategies for our summer school teachers, our summer remedial program teachers, so they can apply the best practices with those students that they're going to be working with in the summer, as well as when they resume regular teaching in September. So it's really just building upon that professional development initiative as well. We're also very excited that we're going to be offering Google Level 1 certification training the last week of June. 2 of our in-house Google certified educators are going to be offering that. I believe it's up to 25 teachers or staff members will be able to apply to attend that training. At the completion of the training, they take the assessment and they can be certified. They can obtain Google 1 level certification. Those staff members are really our teacher leaders. They are critical to our professional development initiatives. They really are the people that step up quite often during our district-wide professional development days to offer workshops for our over 900 staff members and over, 200 paraprofessionals. So expanding on the number of people that we have to be able to lead those workshops is really critical to our technology initiatives. So we're excited to be offering that certification training and getting more people certified on that platform. In addition, first advertisement at Camp Jersey Shore will be held at Monmouth University this summer on August 24th. So all of our new staff members who are hired over the between now and starting in September will be invited to attend, as well as all district-wide staff and administrators. And then last but not least, we know we have an application pending to hear back from Princeton University. Mrs. Griffin is one of the applicants to attend an arts training program with Mr. Graziano, our new Director of Fine and Performing Arts, as well as some of our art teachers. So we're hoping to get accepted. We still haven't heard back, but we're keeping our fingers crossed, and that'll be a great week of learning for those people, for those attendees as well. Lastly, I just want to give everyone a quick update. We spoke last month about SOAR, our newly renamed summer program, Summer Opportunity for Academic Readiness, SOAR. We're really excited. Invitations have gone out to all K-8 students who are invited to participate in the program this summer. They've been coming back. We have expanded, as I said, on the number of classes that we're offering, as well as introducing interventionists to the program for the first time this year. So there'll be reading developmental teachers, as well as mathematics specialists, coaches, and literacy coaches working with the students and the teachers on a daily basis. We did offer the opportunity to survey parents of those who were invited, the opportunity to utilize busing. The program will be held for K-8 students at the Leonardo and Bayshore campus, so we offered busing opportunities. We were going to set up like three drop-off zones around the township. Unfortunately, we haven't had great response or people indicating need for it, but we're going to continue to get it back and see, even if maybe we do one zone, depending on the number of people who indicate they have an interest. We're just trying to give everyone the opportunity to attend and participate and be available for learning. The AP courses and the high school Prep Start, the Jump Start courses, when we spoke about it last time, we indicated that we were going to be surveying the students to develop courses, whether they be online or hybrid or traditional classroom experiences, to try to get more kids interested. We did survey them. In fact, Mr. Kerrigan and Ms. Orozco and Ms. McGlan, they've been meeting with the students. Interestingly enough, they want the traditional classroom experience. They don't want an online or hybrid model. But they did have really good feedback. Their feedback was shorter periods, shorter courses, shorter sessions, and more of them. Not as long as they were, over just a short period of time. So we have adjusted the schedule to meet those requests. We do have a full complement of AP courses, summer courses that are being offered, so we're really excited about that as well. Because again, the more students that we can get to participate in them, the better. We are looking into, I thought it was going to be an easy task, to figure out and determine how well students who participated in those programs did ultimately when they took it. It's a little more complicated than we thought, but we're working on getting that data because we think it is a good thing for next year at least to advertise. So that was a good point. It's just been a little more complicated than we thought, matching up all those different data sources. So we will update you hopefully next month with that, but we will use it next year as our advertisement. But so far, we've been getting very positive feedback from high school students. Just having meetings with them in their classes, the APs at both high schools and some of the directors and the supervisors have been going in and meeting with the students to talk up the program with the teachers. So I think that that's really generating an additional interest as well. And I think that's it. Any questions?
I think offering them the classes online was a good idea, but it's interesting to see that they want to do the traditional, which I think is probably better.
Yeah.
But I think it was important that we offered it.
We had gotten some of that feedback, so we thought we would vet it out.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to get, it was very heavily weighted in that direction. It wasn't even close. So it confirmed, that we should move forward. But they did give us good feedback in terms of how to schedule the courses.
Yeah. And what about the applications coming in for the students that were invited? I know they're just starting, but does it look like we're gonna
Yes.
have a good amount?
Yes. Very, very good responses so far. And we've gotten some feedback from parents as well about that. So already we're thinking for next summer, like how to maybe manage, some of those requests.
I have a question. You do the Google training all the time. Exactly what are they learning? What do they do?
Mr. Alston, would you like to come up and address that?
His face lit up. You wanted that question.
Great questions, Tony. So, having taken the test, obviously, for Google level certification, one, it trains them in what the tools do, what they can do to apply them in their classroom. So, for example, whether it happens to be Google Classroom and its components, where you need to do a series of tasks, basically being asked questions. And level one, I believe, was recently modified. They actually do look at what you're doing as you're doing it, partially before it. Level two, for sure they do it, but I think level one also does. So again, it's application of those tools whether in Google Drive Suite or a classroom.
So it's something that's strictly used for the schools as far as for teaching?
Correct.
As far, okay.
Correct. So that would enhance our
It has
one-to-one
this-
learning.
It has a program. Like a data.
Correct.
It's the, I think it's like the series of the apps. It's the apps that are
Right,
available
so-
within the app, within the Google app.
Google Docs, Gmail, Drive, Classroom, Calendar, all of those pieces. They basically ask you to prove you actually know how to utilize those components from the classroom.
And our whole staff isn't trained on this yet?
They continue to be trained. So we do actually have 3 trainers currently certified. One will not be with us during that time because they're going to the national conference. But the 2 that are remaining will continue to obviously train. We continue to grow all of those educators and trainers, but the goal is obviously to sustain that throughout the school year. So this is a big convening. Many school districts have done it before. We've actually done it in the past for boot camps for those that really want to just come in and become great entrepreneurs in the school year. In fact, we get that many people.
Want to see them all doing it.
Oh yeah, no question. We continue to push it out through educational technology specialists.
Thank you.
And the good thing is we were able to capitalize on some of our Title IIA grant funding, grant funds to offer this professional development.
After this training, will we have a trained person in every one of the 17 schools?
For Google educators?
Yes.
That's a good question. I would need to actually put together a survey to find that out. That's something that we will be doing. I couldn't speak to that at the moment, but I know in all of our buildings, through our educational technology specialists, they're receiving that. I cannot speak for the entire teaching staff, not the ed specialists. Good question. Back to you. Next, please.
This is a level 1 Google.
Yes.
Is there a level 2?
There is. So level 1 for the basics, level 2 a little bit more intricate in terms of how the educational tools can be applied. They also have it as a certified innovator and also the trainer status. We have a few people as innovators, as more at a higher level. The trainers obviously can deliver these training sessions.
Sure.
Can I ask you a question not related to this about the early college learning? Would this be where I would ask the question? Okay. This isn't really a question as much as I'm going to ask you to look into something that you probably can't answer me right away. But I had a couple conversations with teachers in Brookdale, and there seems to be a push at Brookdale to move their semesters from 15 weeks to 7.5 weeks by 2018. And I just wanted to see how and if that would affect our students going to school there. that this is a big push, that they're looking to shorten or cut all of their semesters literally in half. And this was a number of Brookdale teachers that were having this conversation. They said they're looking to do it by 2018. And I would imagine that would be a huge, have some kind of impact on our students. It's one thing for a college student to do that. It's another thing for a high school student to have to learn all that in 7.5 weeks. So I was just curious if that was something that I'm hearing, or maybe they're misinformed, if maybe for next month's meeting that you could just kind of
Yeah,
look
that's the
into it.
first time I'm hearing of that. But we are going to the, I will be with Mr. Ross.
Right, I know, I'm very excited for that.
Signing, so if I don't get ahead, if
But that's
I'm not
what-
able to touch base with him before that, I will definitely bring it up and ask.
And like I said, that may be a rumor that I'm hearing, but it's 2 teachers that actually teach at Brookdale that were bringing this to me, and they had concerns. And so I just wanted to, like I said, I don't want to put you on the spot. You can let me know,
Yeah, we'll ask, we'll inquire.
It's consistent though with this question. We have a memorandum of agreement, but the courses will do.
Right, and that's what I was concerned about.
There were other questions that
Yeah.
we've been facing.
Okay.
And that we were already gonna, the good thing is that we have this memorandum of agreement which defines our courses and exactly what they are.
Like I said, I wasn't expecting an answer. I just want to let you know that that's what I was.
We'll bring it to you.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, is our formal kindergarten registration closed now?
We don't ever close it, it's on a rolling basis, but the vast majority, the initial registrations we have a good handle. And what we've been doing for the last 2 years is we actually look at historically, from this point forward, we take timestamps and we look for comparisons and trends. So we can make predictions for staffing purposes and for curricular purchases, that we have to make over the summer. So we look at, say for example, canvassing. What was their enrollment after the initial period ended? And then historically, month by month through the summer, how many do they typically increase over, a period of time? So we can make some predictions. And they've been pretty dead on. They're very consistent when you look at the last 2 or 3 years. So we have already done that and discussed that with the principals.
Are numbers up from this year? Or?
They're pretty consistent. It's just that in some schools, it's like always, every year. You have a little bit of dip here, you go up here, but pretty consistent. Yeah, they're holding. No, I wouldn't say any significant decrease.
I would say it's pretty consistent. I would also say our consistent work over the last few years of capping for certain schools has gotten people motivated to enroll early.
Definitely. Some schools where
Getting clear
Yeah.
pictures early.
Yeah, in some schools where when you look back 2 years ago, there was very small initial enrollment, and then over the summer, they would almost double. That has really closed off because of that, yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. I don't see Speedsel here. Do you want to skip that? Oh, there he is. Oh, Steve's here.
What I would like to do first, and before that, is we also, under facilities, is an update on our 17-18 projects, and 3 of those are the security projects that are in the budget, and we have Bill Lawrence and Dave Shin here from CM3 along with John McGuire, because we want to talk about proposals that we are looking to move forward with in the areas of access controls, the intercom upgrades, and the bell system. So I'm passing out, if you want to take one and pass it down. We have been working diligently since the budget was approved we already had some initial proposals for budget purposes, but we needed to do updated walkthroughs and pricing on the work that we want to get done in these areas. CM3 has been involved as far as the vendor goes, but all the materials and equipment have been priced out through 2 different purchasing cooperatives, PEFO, which we use, and then also the Camden County Ed Services Commission, which also does cooperative purchasing for these items. That's what I'm handing out to the board right now, the comparison of the proposals we have received for each of these projects. But I'm going to let Bill and John talk about the specifics of what the scope of work is that we're looking at in each of the areas. So, thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Ms. Gallagher said, this is the second major phase of our security enhancements to all 17 facilities. Tonight we're going to discuss public address system upgrades, speaker upgrades, access control on exterior doors, addition of exterior strobes for notification purposes, and potentially upgrades to interior doors with access control. Mr. Lawrence will be able to explain this to you in detail.
The proposal we put forward is for 65 doors of access control. Of those 65, 58 are original doors that are currently in place. I don't know what you know about the existing system. It's kind of a mix of a very old magnetic system and then a Schlage lock system, which is more current, but still all standalone. The only way to access this, make changes or alter it, is to actually go to the door and go with like a Palm Pilot and program the door. It's very outdated at this point in time. The new system is actually a combination of taking the Schlage that you have in place already, utilizing those. There's a component on the back that we can just switch to the current component and make it a current wireless 24/7 lock. In other words, it will be live all the time to communicate with you. The reason why that's necessary is that gives you the ability to do lockout. When you strike a button, the doors immediately lock, and no one with a card other than first responders or administrators are able to come in through the doors. That also is hand in hand with the strobe system that notifies people to stay back from the doors. The strobes are located at the door locations where there's access control meters. Okay, so that's the first part of that. The access control system itself is going to be, there's going to be a structure, it's wireless, to keep the cost down. There's only a few doors that are hardwired. They're ones that don't really work very well with the wireless setup. We decided to stay with this method because we already had a good number of these locks on the doors that were easier to switch over. And secondly, we wanted to maintain the integrity of the door and not start removing the components. I don't know if you've seen them, they're fairly large. Like pulling those off, patching, and we just felt it was better to stick with the format that we had. It's actually probably one of the hottest things in the security industry at this point in time. Lock life is very long, it's battery powered. They're good for about 50,000 transactions. So in a school environment, I'd probably suggest you change the batteries once a year, which are just AA batteries, or you could probably go 2 or 3 years on the door. You are notified if the door is getting weak and needs battery change, but you'll have at least 500 swipes before that becomes an issue. Okay. Are there any questions on that part of it?
I don't know if I could ask this question, but you say there's 58 doors. Those doors are mainly, we're talking the main entranceways, or?
Actually, the main entrance is not one of the doors most of the time. Well, in the elementary, I believe they are.
In the elementaries, they are. In the high schools and middle schools, they're generally not. And from a security standpoint, we want to stay with that model because they tend to be our main points of ingress during arrival, where, in fact, we wouldn't use the technology anyway because we need to have the doors open to get the volume of students and staff into the building.
These are to enter the building and exit the building, right?
I'm sorry, what's that?
These doors, as far as this system, is to the people to enter and exit the building?
Yeah.
Has anybody hacked them yet?
No, they're not. They really don't have that intelligence to be hacked. Any hacking would occur really on the computer level.
It's a card, right? A swipe of a card.
Yeah, actually we use smart card technology. We went to the highest technology because smart cards are the hardest ones to hit. There's proximity and there's smart card. Originally we spoke about proximity, but it was easier. And basically it was the same costing to go to a smart card. So the difference is there's only a limited number of digits on a proximity card. And unfortunately what a lot of vendors do is they start with card 1001. And then if they don't utilize what they call site codes. Site codes are the things to say it's this complex, okay? There's only so many of the smart codes and they're only 3 digits. I'm sorry, site codes and there's only 3 digits. So it's actually a weak format. In proximity, there's more of an issue there. Smart card is a very long, like 20 digits long. So it's very hard to ever get a duplicate card. All right, so it's...
If it happens and they do get duplicate cards, do you get any kind of insurance or anything for this?
Wouldn't think so. I mean, I've never heard of a smart card where you get.
I never know. That's what I'm.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah, but everybody's getting hacked for something.
Believe me, I will get.
Everybody, today everybody's getting.
Yeah, everything this weekend was about the computers, you know?
The actual technology, because it actually isn't at a level here, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr.
Yeah.
Lawrence, is actually more difficult to infiltrate, because most infiltrations are occurring with systems that have a lot of entry points, so to say. And with this type of technology, what's currently being used on doors, you really don't have that level.
There's, I guess the easiest thing, there's a lot easier ways to do it in the building.
Yeah, there are, but you
Yeah,
never
to,
know.
you know, try and
I'm
pick
just
a
saying,
lot.
putting all our money into it. What about warranties on these systems that we put in?
The warranty that we offer is 1 year on everything. Manufacturer's warranty on the lock, I believe, is 3 years. Okay. So we're 1 year everything, parts and labor. But then the factory takes over after that. From the point.
Okay.
If it's possible, if you like. Using my industry, all the warranties keep getting bigger and bigger. It's the size.
You can match the manufactured warranty.
With labor. On the door lock side, you probably could. So, I don't actually have any problem with that. I don't really have any problems with that.
Negotiations.
I like it better.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, on the access side, I just want to clarify also with the handout that I gave you with the pricing. When we were doing the budget and we talked about this project initially, that's what would be covered under what we have under here is access controls base plan. We talked about doing a certain amount of exterior doors, adding a few of those, and that was the scope of the project. As we've gotten into this more and had more discussions, not only with CM3 and John, but also with Mrs. Walker, Mr. Ranella, others who have been participating in developing this sort of work, it's been identified that there's other things that are really things that we would like to move forward with, if possible. The strobe lighting, Mr. McGuire mentioned, that was not something that we talked about originally, but it's felt that that would be a very critical addition to the system to alert people from the outside that the building is in lockdown and prevent people from coming in when they shouldn't be coming in. And in addition to that, there's been discussion about additional access controls on interior doors that we did not include in our original budget discussion. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that a little
Can you
bit.
refresh my memory? What was the budget,
It's
what did we
on
budget for?
here, that's where I have my.
Okay, so the
accountant
the
will
245?
The next section down where it says access controls base plan, those,
The
that's.
245 is what we budgeted.
Yes.
And now
So-
you're looking at 496?
Well, it would be if we did these two components,
Okay.
or if we did one, and we're just showing you what it would be if we were to move forward with those, and we'd have to talk about whether we would be moving forward with those this year, or that would be something we would have to defer. But John, I'll let you talk.
Can they be
about
separated out? Or does this all have to be done at
that.
once?
No, you
Absolutely,
can
they
separate
can
it
be
out.
separated
Yeah, no,
out.
absolutely, you can separate it out.
And we've looked at some interior access controls, we've actually discussed it in theory for some time. Basically, it would be in our middle schools and in our high schools to deal with certain issues. You all have the experience of knowing that although we don't have a major problem, when we do have vandalism inside our buildings during the school day, it tends to occur in our bathrooms. And it's been a recurring problem for years in many of our buildings. We've advocated for a long time, both from a security standpoint and from an administrative standpoint, that the bathrooms be open. What this would do would require access control to gain access to those bathrooms. It would gain compliance with us for certain factors. Number one, students would have to wear their IDs because they would use their ID cards to access the bathrooms. It would give us an ability to track who's in those spots at those times when we might discover vandalism. And it offers those things to us. It also, we wanted to push it down to the middle school level because we feel that looking at it strictly from the ID standpoint and the access, that if we can start to build compliance at that level, that compliance becomes easier and it'll follow through to the high school years. What we've also seen is that it's just going to provide a lot for us as far as tracking. We've looked at adding access controls to our nurse's office, child study team guidance doors. That way, the doors are locked already, utilizing the lock technology that we use. But what we don't have the ability to do right now, except through a pass system, is track when students actually are in those spaces. And if they leave a classroom and say they're going to guidance, if they had to use their ID to swipe in or use their props card to get into those spaces, we'd have the ability to track when they were in those spaces. So it adds a lot from an administrative standpoint for our teaching staff and administrative staff in the buildings.
Don't they sign into the nurse's office and the child study team, all of those offices? So is it?
We're using old-fashioned track. We're using pen and paper, which it's functional. You can't dispute that it's functional. But during busy times and stuff, we all know from observing it that sometimes that doesn't always happen.
John, what would be your recommendation out of this with the access control, which we plan to do? We put that in our budget. The strobe lighting or the interior doors in the high school and middle?
From a priority standpoint, we're looking actually at 4 projects, Mr. Cody. We haven't even discussed the BOE systems yet. To me, the ability to communicate and notify is the most critical thing in critical events. The PA systems, as we discussed that with fun, we need to really upgrade our PAs, especially at the elementary level. That is the critical priority to me. The second priority from my standpoint would be the strobe light. And it's the second priority because, again, it comes down to the ability to notify. And we see this consistently in our drills. We have a lot of people in district who travel from building to building. We have a lot of district maintenance personnel and other personnel who go from building to building. And we frequently see in our drill environment where those folks are walking to the building because they have keyed access, not knowing that we're in the middle of a drill. And the reason that I feel that the exterior strobe lighting is important is because that could happen in a real event, and that we don't want to have happen if they arrive before there was a law enforcement presence. So that's very important. And then we move to the outside doors. That's critical. We do not allow student access with props cards. We don't see going there at all. I think from a security standpoint, it's not a good model. But what we do deal with now is, Mr. Parcells could tell you, a lot of time is spent with reprogramming fobs. Mr. Lawrence talked about the current technologies. It has to be programmed now with Pilot. It requires a visit to each individual door. With a new system, central server, multiple point control, adding and deleting people who need to be added and deleted, changing time zones for who can go in the building, when they can go in the building. There are a lot of advantages to it. And the last phase, from our standpoint, would be the interior access controls.
One option that we would have, if the board wanted to consider moving forward with the strobe lighting system, since it wasn't in our original budget, we were notified in the recent weeks from New Jersey school boards that we are eligible again this year for a safety grant. And I believe the amount that we are eligible for, I can't believe we approved that. We approved it last month's agenda, this month's agenda, I'm losing track of time, but it was in the $50,000 range, I think close to 55. If we wanted to move forward with that, we could allocate those funds to cover in the additional amount for the strobe lighting system. My suggestion financially for the other access controls, if we wanted to move forward with those, we may be able to see, we have some large projects going out to bid in the next few weeks, and we can see how those projects come in compared to our capital budget, and if there is room in the budget to allocate additional funds to cover the additional access doors. The base plan is already in the budget, so that's covered. But if we felt that we had some additional capital funds that we could move forward with that piece of it, that's something that we could look at, in the next couple of weeks and see if we could, move forward with it that way. Maybe make that something the board
I mean,
wants.
you tell me, the intercom upgrades, we have that.
Well, that's gonna be next, that's in here, yes. So the.
Well, Johnny brought it up, so I
Yeah,
wanted to
what's in the budget now
Now.
is the base plan on the access controls,
Right.
the PA upgrades, and the clock and bell systems for the elementaries. That is already budgeted,
Right.
and that's those, we are moving forward with. The only two pieces on here that we didn't, budget for next year are the strobe lights and the additional access controls. So we are, but they are things that we've identified that would be important and things that we would like to move forward with. It would just be figuring out how to do that. Like I said, my suggestion on the strobe lights would be to potentially use the safety grant to do that, and then take a look at our capital budget when we get some of our other project costs back that we're working on currently, and see if there would be any feasibility to fund the other piece of the access controls that we didn't originally budget.
How much is the safety grant?
I think, and I don't have it in front of me, I thought it was about 55,000, right?
Amy, can I ask you a question again? But the strobe lighting, we talked about 61,000 and
Yes.
173.
The 173 would be for the additional access controls that we didn't originally
Those are the
budget
two
for.
numbers then?
Yes, yes. So I don't know if anyone has any more questions on the access control piece. The base plan of the access controls, and then if we wanted to move forward with any other, these are things that we want to put on next week's agenda, because we do need to move forward in order to get this work starting, to get done over the summer. We're going to have to move forward with that. So, we can talk about whether we would like to move forward with the strobe lighting and apply the safety grant funds to that. And if we needed to assess where we are financially with our capital budget, we could potentially add the access controls for the other doors on as well.
And they would be the same doors, the interior doors at the high school and middle schools, they would be pretty much the same as we're putting in now, so we wouldn't have to purchase any additional equipment to program them or anything else with the original 58
You're
doors.
getting all the head-end stuff in
Right.
the original purchase.
So if we did that at a later date, it's not going to
Actually,
cost
what
us
we did,
more
we
than
went
with
through
this.
the consistency of all the power supplies now too. So we actually picked up a huge gain on the secondary doors because we have so much infrastructure in place that's necessary. The controllers for the wireless doors each can take 2 meters, because these are going to be a different configuration and be hardwired readers. So we have a lot of gains.
And that's what my question is, that
And you don't suffer between the two at all.
the hardware that we're getting, computers, software, and
Correct.
switches, digital switches for these doors, we're going to have the capability at the high school levels, because that's where we're putting the access, we're putting access doors, about 4 doors in every building, correct? So with those controllers, are they going to be able to expand
Oh, yeah.
as we add more doors?
Yes.
So when
Just
we
like
go
the
to purchase
camera
this
system.
originally, we have that
That's
capability,
really
if we do another bigger
beauty
thing.
of the wireless doors, is they don't count against the door counts. The softwares have limitations when you have to expand, they actually don't count against that count. So, there's so many gains on the one side. One thing I do want to mention though about the strobes are reduced by using cabling at the same time as the PA exterior horns. So all those locations are the same location, and with the spline ceiling, we put them together at this point in time, so you have a clean.
So there is some economic
Yeah,
benefit
of us
to doing
doing
this.
it.
It's just those two systems.
If we move forward on the strobe and even the additional, if we found a way to do it, where would that put Middletown relatively, comparatively to other districts? Where would we be security-wise? Would we be so far ahead? Or is this kind of where everybody's at right now?
Well, it would definitely put us in a much better,
Of
my
course,
position is
always safety,
we're in a
I
good,
understand
we're in a
that.
good posture, and this board and the administrative team have been great since I've been on board with what we've moved forward with security. There are places, Mrs. Gallagher and I were talking about this today, generally where you see, and Mr. Lawrence will verify this, where you see the use of proximity and whatnot is in the wall schools. As far as student access, which we don't really need to talk about, you see it on open campuses. So you tend to see it in private schools with open campuses or whatnot. You see it at the college level quite a bit. As far as a public school district, we'll be on the front side of where we are, of where we should be and where other people are. You don't see a lot of people with the exterior warnings. We have started to see it within our security group within the county, people moving in the same direction as us. So it's definitely a growing trend. It's where everyone's going, and it's definitely where we need to be.
Lockdown is the biggest trend. Cameras have been the trend for 6 years, 7 years solid, maybe even longer, when we migrated to the HD quality image. But now it's all about lockdown. So we have a lot of cases where we're actually looking at a change out of access control.
I'd like to reiterate where we need to be, which is why we're suggesting it and why we're, why we're here. So,
I do want to clarify with what Mr. Warren just said. We talk about this all the time. Everybody talks about lockdown, and you hear a lot of people talking about that when it comes to these systems. It's actually lockdown. We know what we do during lockdown, but what the system allows you to do, and we know that our doors are not open during the day anyway. They're locked. Outside of arrival in the morning, you need to come to a certain door to gain admittance to our buildings. What this does do for us, outside of the obvious access control piece, is we now can electronically control when we go into lockdown the access to the building to people who have proximity cards or smart cards, which is the technology we would use.
Well, I also want to reiterate what we talked about when we talked about the budget is the access control system. It's also, the system we have now, as Mr. McGuire said, is aging. It's getting to the point where it's becoming difficult to maintain, get parts for repair. So it really is something that needs to be replaced just to remain effective. So.
And the people who would run the system internally, we would need new people to do this. We would train the existing people we already have.
Right, no, yeah,
I have a question. I just want to know, on this line, these line items, where is the access for interior? The interior doors, meaning that the students go into the nurse's office or whatever.
That's the third one that was
That's
originally
the
budgeted on
173?
173, yes.
And that's for middle school and high school,
Yes.
where we decide.
Right, on specific doors at the secondary school level.
And that's only for specific schools.
Right. Right.
I'm not there for that.
I'm fine with the strobe lighting, I think that's important. I'm concerned about the access controls on the inner doors. And my concern is this, I'm more concerned about the disruption in the child's school day and the child's, in the welfare of the child. And this is how I'm concerned about it. A child who's injured and has to go to the nurse in a hurry, or is throwing up, or bleeding, or whatever, now has to remember to take their card and swipe on the way into the nurse's office, or a child who's in crisis who has to go to the child study teams, who needs immediate access, has to swipe. That's a concern for me.
Certainly a consideration.
It not be functional.
Right. Is it that bad if we don't go ahead with that part? I like all the other parts. I think that's important.
I do too.
Can you live with?
Well, it's something, like I said, that maybe what we can do is reevaluate when we see how the rest of our capital budget starts shaping up to see if there are funds
It's not about
available.
budget. It's
No,
not
I
about
understand
budget.
what I'm
I
saying.
guess this is my
That would be
question.
another reason to look at it further.
But it has nothing to do
We
with
might be
budget.
asking
What has
the same
to do
question.
with
I guess
budget?
my question is
completely understand the point of view. I'm
Are
just
we
saying
any
that
less
we
safe
go forward
without
with
those
the
access
pieces
controls?
and then see
Are
if
the
we
children
have
any less
what
safe?
would allow.
No.
Quite honestly.
Okay.
Now, let me just ask another question. And again, I might be able to answer at a later date, you might want to give me the reply, but our doors right now, if one is left open, jam, something put in it, do we have that capacity of an alarm that someone in that building knows that door is left open?
Currently,
Currently.
it's not something that I would want to discuss.
Okay. Now, with these doors that we're talking about, has that been looked into?
It's been looked into, we need to make further infrastructure improvements
That's all I
to get
did.
to that point.
That's all I did. I didn't want to go too deep into
You're
it.
gonna be so careful.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
On the access controls for the, I guess it's the 173 on your...
Interior.
Isn't that what we're talking about? Is that the line item we're talking about? And if that is the line item, is this access control in the grammar school, or is it, as it says, high school and middle
No,
school?
the base
No, the
plan
base
is
plan
all
is
schools. It's all schools. Those are exterior doors, that's every school. The interior doors that we're talking about potentially doing additional would be only in the high school and middle schools.
We're already budgeted for the first
We're
one.
already
So we were
budgeted.
already putting them in.
Yeah, we were already putting access
It's
control.
about-
Here's your question.
Yeah.
I'm not just, I'm worried about the child, any child.
You mean the high school level?
Absolutely, it's about the active, the inside, at the high school level, at the.
And quite honestly, it might be a non-issue because we might not have the money in the budget. We don't even know if we have the money for that anyway.
Well, I guess I would say my recommendation would be, to move forward this month with the base plan and the strobe
Strobe
lighting.
lighting.
And then we could evaluate the funding, and we could always, if we choose to do that, and the funds are available, we can add that on in June. Because we'll know pretty shortly how a lot of these other bigger projects are coming in, and we'll see what our funding is.
Do we need a straw poll or anything for that?
No, you're not voting on it tonight, it's going to be on the agenda.
No, I meant on whether or not it goes on the agenda.
Well, I think we've kind of come to the conclusion of what's
We're
going to be on
comfortable
the
with those
agenda,
two?
and then we'll
Okay.
review and revisit next month the interior doors.
And if maybe, and I'm just speaking right now, not for the whole board, but something that we'd be more interested in seeing is that those discussions we had with the interior doors, also doing at the middle and the high school level, that maybe Mr. McGuire can look into to just get us a price compared to doing the interior to the exterior. You know where I'm going, Joe?
Absolutely.
So if we could just compare.
The other projects that are detailed out on the summary that you've been provided are the intercom upgrades, which are in the budget for next year. To summarize, we priced out through two different cooperatives, PEPO being the cooperative that gave us the more beneficial pricing. We did budget $519,415 for that project. The PEPO proposal is $515,838, so that is within the budget that we set. The clock system, it was just for the elementary schools. And on the second page, you'll see that the budget for that project was $131,689. The PEPO proposals for the 12 elementary schools totaled $131,688.84. And the other, the Camden County Cooperative came in at $137. So we would take the lower proposal of the two, but now I will let Mr. Shin and Mr. McGuire talk about the intercom upgrades and the clock systems. And again, just reiterating, those that were budgeted and we had agreed to move forward with those. We were just clarifying pricing and finalizing the scope of work. So,
Hello, everyone. My name is
CM3, who can take us through the intercom PA system proposals, which include not only upgrades to the actual systems themselves, which are sorely needed at the elementary school levels, in my opinion, critical to notification, as we previously discussed. It will also include major exterior speaker upgrades and interior speaker upgrades to identify issues that we've seen over time with our ability to notify and how our students and staff are able to respond to potential critical events. Mr. Shin?
As John mentioned, the elementary schools are probably the primary focus. Obviously, you have the 12 elementary schools. What we'd be doing is replacing the head-end systems at all of those schools. There are a few of the schools, not the same thing, one of them. There are a couple others where we're recabling and putting new speakers, new call switches, new devices. The idea of replacing those head-end systems at the schools Number one is, after our evaluation, we could see that in some cases, the wiring is still usable. The wiring and speakers are sufficient to support the new head end. So that would be, that's a significant savings, because as you can see from some of the pricing where we had to recable, the other prices is a lot higher. That's just the nature of labor and prevailing wage and whatnot. So what you see on here is that what you'll have in the future is you'll have the ability for individual communication in the classroom. Right now, what you have is an overall page into each of the buildings. So if you wanted to contact, let's say it's room 106, you're contacting either a large group or the entire school to get to that room 106. Another, I guess, benefit to this system is that you have the communication is now limited or integrated to the school itself. So from that standpoint, you're not running through your network, your IP network, to get into your system. That eliminates any latency, which is the delay that happens when somebody starts speaking and then you have a 3-4 second delay. In these cases, you leave people off. In this case, you would have, each individual school would have their own ability to communicate not only with the individual classrooms, but on an all-call basis. They can also communicate on Zooms. All those zones, which are now hardwired into your system. For example, I see, those are the places I've seen you have 3 zones. So you have inside, outside, and everywhere. In this situation, you limit the ability of your school to be able to communicate as they need. For instance, you may want to, let's say, for instance, you have kindergarten rooms where you don't want them disturbed during nap times, but you want to be able to make pages throughout the building. Maybe there's an area where you want to page. In most cases, most school districts will do is they'll page into common areas. So, for example, you may want to page, you're looking for, let's say, somebody in the building, and you page common areas like the hallway, the cafeteria, kitchen. You can page those areas without disrupting the rest of the school. Same thing with classrooms. You can page a block of rooms, or you can page multiple blocks, depending on how you have that set up. And it's all, the idea of that is it's all software programmable. So those, for instance, if you, let's say you set up a page for 3rd grade, okay, next year you need, because of some class sizes, you needed maybe an extra room for 3rd grade, or maybe you needed one less room for 3rd grade. That can all be adjusted during the program. So those are some of the benefits. Individual communication is a big plus because most correspondence can be made without the teacher needing to go to maybe go to her phone, so you're not disrupting class time. She can answer most communications quickly without having to even break her stride, his stride, to be able to do that. From a security standpoint, like I said, you'll have the ability to communicate throughout the building, whether it's through your telephone or through the system itself, so you'll never be blocked out. And there's also other enhancements that we can make to the middle schools and the high schools. Across the board, what we've done is we've gone through and identified any areas that had poor coverage. For example, your lavatories, your outside, your playground areas. Those areas that would be critical in a lockdown. More often than not, those are the areas where, when a lockdown is tested, you have people coming out of those areas to go bathroom, or maybe people out of the playground that never even knew they were in a lockdown. So those areas were addressed. At the high school level, you have a few different challenges. 2 of them are the bubbles that you guys are dealing with. This system will incorporate communication out into both of those bubbles, so you'll have coverage. You'll also have paging into the back area of the school at South, where you have that large area that is just not covered. So we've added additional amplification of speakers there to make sure that when something is, when a message has to get out,
So on the elementary level,
Yes,
they'll be able to hear it on the playground?
yes.
And the big thing from a security standpoint that I see based on the proposal is delay is eliminated in communication. Because not only do we have new systems to replace systems that are frankly in state of decay, we have redundancy. And right now, we do occasionally see delays because a lot of what we're doing now is phone-based. And we will be able to eliminate that and we're going to create other redundancy, which I think is important.
This is a place we hope to get them. It's been requested from principals, and I think for a lot of board members who've been here for a long time, I know we had you at a low because this is something we've been
We have
requesting.
been, we have been talking about the PA systems for a while.
And how user-friendly is this for, I mean, would it just be the principals that had access to this, or would like the secretaries be able to
Oh, no.
pick and choose which classrooms? And this would be
Yeah.
phenomenal for like park and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. That's a perfect example.
The secretaries could, it's as user-friendly for the secretaries to do
Oh, absolutely.
as anybody in the office can.
Because what we'll do is we'll
Pick and
set you up,
choose.
you have 32 zones on each of your systems. 32 zones is more than anybody can use, especially at an elementary level. So those zones can be pre-configured for you. And we can even label them so that you'll know which ones are for park. So when you wanted to make certain announcements, you'll be able to, it'll be as convenient as, I mean, it's basically 3 steps. It's page, your zone number, and push to talk, and you're out. So it's pretty simple. One of the things you're gonna have too is consistency among the district. That's something that's gonna be, is huge when you have a large district, because you have the secretaries, you have administration, people that, from year to year could be moving to any school. You even have a bench floater substitute, office staff. When they go from school to school now, they won't have the inconsistency of learning, okay, it's the system or it's that system. You're gonna have consistency wherever they go. They'll see the system, they'll recognize it, they'll know how to use it. It won't be, you won't have that learning curve.
Okay.
And in line with what you were asking, Mrs. Walsh, there's a training component attached to the entire proposal where anyone involved in the process is going to get as much training as they need to be effective with the system.
Good. That's phenomenal.
So as I stated, we will be moving forward with these proposals for next week's agenda so we can get the work underway. And we are, these are things we have been talking about, so we're happy to be able to bring to fruition.
Does this have the same kind of warranties?
Yes.
So,
Love her.
3 years?
You got it back to the well.
This costs us a lot of money. This is a lot of money. We waited a long time for it, so we need warranties.
At this point, you do have a 1-year warranty on parts and labor. I can also talk to the manufacturer about the additional warranty. And I can see what I can do for you. I know cost obviously.
We need it. How many years?
And I'll tell you something too. Teleport is that they've been manufacturing school communications since about 1984. This system that you're going to put in, the platform has been pretty much the same since about 90. They are committed to making things backward compatible. They're committed to standing behind the product. I've personally been involved with Teleport, the manufacturer, since 1988. And I can tell you just firsthand, it's probably the most stable system on the market as far as serviceability, as far as
Don't jinx
and the product.
Let it just keep being that stable.
I have an example. I mean, in 1993, the system in Atlantic City High School, they've had little to no service until this year, where they've had some of their digital clocks that have corroded from being in the pool area. We have another one that we're working on now as an upgrade, not necessarily a replacement, but just an upgrade at the New Jersey State Prison, which is actually the same backbone that we have here. And that system has been running since 1993 or 1994. So it's a very, very stable system. I think you'll be very happy.
Keep negotiating, you know, the pool with the clock.
That's what I was thinking, the pool is right.
clocks in all of the elementary schools. And they're wireless clocks, so they're battery operated wireless clocks. Again, there's not much to them. They'll take their signal from your network as soon as we plug into your network, so everything will be on network time. Also, the CPU boards on each of your intercom systems also have that ability. So if you plug that into your network, everything will be on a consistent.
And we don't have that consistently right now. And number one, it impacts scheduling. Number two, it impacts safety. Because when we don't have everybody on the same schedule, it does have an impact on safety.
Does this go through that fiber stuff that you're talking about, that wire?
No, this is completely wireless.
No, but you know when they talk about the data? He said data. I have no idea. All I know is that we always have to upload it. No, okay, thank you, Dan. That's all I wanted to know.
No, it'll only utilize the network for synchronization. Okay, everything else is transmitted from its own base.
Okay, thank you.
Will this make the analog clock in South Auditorium finally work?
Yes, it will, absolutely.
Thank you. What did you say?
And the clock in Thorn's gym.
We're talking about, hang on, stop for a second.
We're only doing clocks in the
We're
elementary.
talking about elementary, right? I'm sorry.
So Thorn's gym clock still won't work.
Right. And one other thing is we are replacing the clocks at Bayshore. Yes. That's part of the upgrade because Bayshore has digital clocks and we're upgrading those.
And it's full PA upgrade. It's the only one of our secondary schools that required a full PA upgrade because
Yeah,
basically system
I've been in discussions with Mr. Scarano over the past year or so, and they've really been just patching it together.
The other two schools are okay? Thompson and Thorne?
Thompson and Thorne are currently okay. Yes, they are.
And at Bayshore, the manufacturers actually have sent a memorandum that they stop service, that it stops supporting altogether.
Right.
So it's the right time to
Yes.
make sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, the next item we have under facilities is, we do have some other 17, 18 projects to update you on. I can run through those really quick just to give you a status. We are working on getting proposals. We had in the budget to do lockers, and we are looking at getting proposals on those over at the north, right? At north of the gym areas, right? The line, right? Okay. And then we are opening our field and track bids on May 25th. After the board meeting next week. So we are going to be looking to schedule a special meeting. We were talking about this just to award that contract because if we do it till the end of June, that will not give them enough time to be working on it. So we are going to have to look at a date the week of May 30th, or I think May 29th, or whatever the first day of that week is, to just do a meeting to approve that contract because I have no other way to do it. And to hold that until June 20, it's like the last week of June is our board meeting, that just is not going to be something we can do. So we will let you know when that would be. And then we're also getting proposals right now for the nut swamp floor replacement that is in the budget. We are working on solidifying the pricing on that. So at this point now, one of the other topics we had on our agenda was an update on the energy savings plan of the solar PPA. So maybe I'll let Mr. Spiegel give us an update on that and have some discussions on where we are.
I didn't realize the door was getting up too.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we could just, no, I guess, what is it, thank you.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Just back to before, and while we have a little time, I'm going to be out of town that week.
Okay.
And I think there might be some other conflicts also.
Well, I'll circulate an email on dates, but like I'm saying, we're gonna have to do something in the early find a date where we can get the majority of the members together to hopefully move forward, or we're just not going to be able to get the project done. So,
Just to save a little bit of time, I'm just gonna, look towards the second week of, not the first, it's not, I think you're saying.
I am.
Right, so.
Second week of June is better than next.
So you're talking about the week that is 6th.
that's better. Steve, a week is gonna, you want to...
It's already tight, so sooner the better, but you know how long it takes to time.
If we could,
Oh, yeah, no,
if we could find a date the week of the 29th, that would be preferable. But like I said, I'll circulate an email and we'll say, we'll put out dates.
Memorial Day.
Okay, well, not very clear. Right, I'll circulate an email, we'll try to find something, if not that week, the following week, but we'll do it as soon as we can get the majority of the board together. So. All right, well, maybe you can start by just giving a brief update on where we are with the energy savings plan. We are continuing to work with the third-party verification firm to come up with the final plan.
Yeah, right now, we're still in the third-party verification phase where the third-party, the company who's hired to do third-party review has had comments. They've had a couple of comments back and forth. We've evaluated different systems to use at the middle schools and high schools just to see if there's any better energy savings through any one of the other options. It turns out that it's not, so they're proceeding with documenting this, and we're hoping within the next 2 weeks that everything gets finalized and submitted into the BPU. We just had a conference call last Thursday where the two companies met, and I was on the phone, and we had a discussion and listened to what they were talking about, and just tried to make sure we're all on the same page and getting what was best for the district and producing the most energy savings. So like I said, hopefully that's going to get wrapped up. Now that does tie into the solar project in the sense that we were able to, if we're using the numbers for the bids that came in on the solar, it actually changed the energy savings plan because it increased the project by almost $2 million worth of scope. Because the bids came in so good and the numbers were so low by the bidder who was reviewed by the EPA committee, the evaluation committee, and was recommended for award. Using those numbers, it produced almost $2 million in additional savings, therefore $2 million in additional work that the district can do without impacting the tax payers. So that was adding more rooftop units to the middle schools and high schools that otherwise would not get included. So there's a lot more mechanical equipment now. I think the project was a little over $12 million, where before we were talking about $10 million worth of savings, and projects now are a little over $12 million. So that PPA project does impact the ESA pretty drastically, in a good way, assuming now the concerns and issues with PPA. Now, the PPA, again, there were some concerns about the bids that came in. There were discussions that were discussed with the attorney, reviewed with the committee, and put together in that report, which everybody has seen.
Right, the evaluation report is on the website, the voter has had it.
So we'll have time, if you haven't already looked through it, to definitely look through that before the board meeting, so that if that does move forward, obviously that would impede the process of the ESIP if it doesn't move forward. If that gets stalled, it may stall the ESIP because we can't get time to get what the savings of one goes to the other. So with that, I know that I think at this point probably the only discussion about the PPA is related to the roofing issues and where we stand. And I'm sure you guys have discussed this in length. We have had some previous discussions or recent discussions with Tremco, the manufacturer, about how to handle this and how we want to proceed. We expressed our concerns. I told them last time I was at the board meeting that we need to get something in writing covering the district for these blisters should they be a problem and require removal of the solar. They actually had their vice president and the regional director fly out from Cleveland, met in my office on Monday with the local representative who's been dealing with the district from Tremco, and we met, we went through everything. I had spoken to Amy before, I spoke to Amy after, just to make sure we were on the same page with what we wanted in writing, and they were going back now to their legal department to talk about revising the warranty come back with language that will hopefully appease the board. I asked for a sample of that before tonight's meeting. They were not able to get that quickly. Like I said, Monday, they were literally in my office. He flew back to Cleveland late Monday night, so they looked at it Tuesday. It was Wednesday, they weren't able to get it done that quickly. So we're hoping that they can get us the language for the board meeting so that we can go ahead and proceed with the award of the PPA and then finalizing the energy savings plan accordingly. So they also relate to how they work. So they can but it was promising. I mean, they didn't back away. They said, look, we want to be on your team. We want to be your partner. We want to make sure the board's comfortable. We just have to make sure we're protected. And their concerns were that, how they go about expenses and you call them up and say, hey, there's a leak. They come out and they look at it. It's not a leak, or it's not related to the roof. It's related to the solar, or it's related to something on the wall, or it's related to this. And so how do they protect themselves from coming out every week to look at least at their issues? So, that was their concern about that, but when we talked about it, and we said, look, the board's not looking for you to come out and fix their problems, but if there's a blister that's a leak, and it's caused by your roof, we want you to say you're going to be responsible for that, and it costs them by doing it. So, they seem, agreeable to that. They did seem to buy into it, and they were just working out the details of the language.
I just have to say this, I think I said it to you the last time you were here. I want the solar, I want the energy savings, but I want new roofs. I think that we paid a lot of money, we have a lot of blisters, and we shouldn't have to settle for that. If the product was not good, we should have roof replacement, so that when we do put solar on, we don't have any issues. We don't have to have them come back and keep fixing it. We are guaranteed our roofs are good, and we go forward. I just think all these blisters that we keep talking about, and they're worried about us calling them back, to come back and fix problems that you're saying could be ours, when right now what we're hearing, it's not our problems, it's theirs, because of the product they use. I would just like to see the new roofs that we paid for so that we can move forward with the solar.
Yeah, and we mentioned that. I mean, the problem is that, one, there are no, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are no current activities related to roofs or in particular blisters. The blisters are, now again, normal in roofing to appear from time to time. The amount of blisters that you receive is not. But that being said, Tremco and every other roof manufacturer that we've spoken to has said that they normally would not do anything with blisters because they're not causing a problem. And they're not a defect in the roof. They would repair if there was a problem. In this case, Tremco is saying, let me try to do something here. And they've gone around through the district. Last time we said they were going to come to the district. They've now finished. They've gone to all 15 of the schools that were reported, and they've repaired the major blisters. We did ask for a walkthrough, which we're trying to schedule, to go with them and the facilities department and the roofing, in-house roofing guy, to walk the roofs to make sure that everybody's comfortable, that the blisters that they fixed are satisfactory to the district, one, because they were talking about size of blisters, maybe they don't replace them all, fix them all, however they.
Right, that's one of the things that we were also looking to get the definition on is the criteria for, what would be something that they should address specifically, not just whatever they feel. We want specific criteria of what would be addressed.
But the last time you were here, you told us that there was a product used that was defective.
Well,
and that's the concern. We shouldn't have to settle for defective product. We should have replacement with the right product and a new roof.
Right, and like I said before, I mean, first of all, they're not using the word defective. That was a word that was brought up, and we're saying yes, their product didn't adhere properly, and they've come up with a couple of reasons why. And one of them is that it had to, but it didn't adhere properly in some spots, causing the blisters, which they've now fixed. And they're still warranting it for 20 years, and they've given you an extension on the warranty, so they'll be out here every year maintaining your roofs for free. So they'll be out here. If there's something that pops up, and that's a concern, they address it.
Unless they deem it the fault of the solar company and not us.
They won't deem the blister the fault of the solar. The The only issue that the solar company might have is, let's say their panel, for whatever reason, blows off and rips the roof. Well, that's not their problem, that's
But
the
if it
solar.
rips a blister, whose problem is that?
Well, they're gonna say the
Solar
solar company, their
That's-
panel blew off, and your solar company would actually, but your solar company would actually say, yeah, it blew off, I gotta repair the problem. But I don't think you're gonna have an argument from the solar company. If their solar panel blows off, that's on them.
If it rips a blister that's
If
in
it
the
rips
roof.
anything, if it rips a blister, if it goes through your window, that's on them, and they would have to take responsibility.
We had an independent consultant come and look at the roofs.
And he agreed to it, and
And
blisters are.
he recommended a zero tolerance policy for blisters, correct?
That's what it
So
says.
that's what his language was.
It said zero tolerance policy?
Yes.
It said zero tolerance.
It says, I recommend the zero tolerance standard. If there is a blister, repair it.
No matter the size, no matter.
Right, well, and we're not saying they didn't do that. That's what we're saying, we have to go walk and see what they repaired. Okay, so right now, they said they've repaired it, they did go with Steve and some facility guys, Steve and Ken, that went with it. So they've seen most of what they've repaired, I believe. So my understanding is that, again, they've gone through that process and did repair these blisters. You know, so their point is that, one, they're still warranting the roof leaks, they're not backing away from that. They've provided an additional warranty that provides for maintenance and inspections every year, so if anything changes in the roof, they're there to see it. You're not going to go more than a year without noticing it. And then they're going to address it.
But
Well, one of the-
respectfully, and I'm sorry.
Go right ahead, I'm sorry, go
But
ahead.
respectfully, I don't care how big the blister is, and I know that that's an issue that we're trying to decide what size the blister needs to be remediated. If our independent consultant is recommending a zero tolerance policy, that's the opinion that I care about.
Right, and I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
And like we talked about last time, so if the board is making the decision that they want a zero tolerance on blisters, or they want new roofs, the only thing we can do next is file a legal claim against Tremco.
Well, here's the thing with that, is that if we do file a legal claim, because at one point when it was brought to our attention that there was blisters, was that it was a product failure. And that's what was stated, and that's what was told to us. On the 17th, when we got this letter from our expert, who did go over all of these blistering with Tremco, Tremco says that they tell our expert that they believe it was from installation. Then our expert comes back and says he goes along with Tremco, it's possibly from installation. So with that, now we ask Tremco for a letter that says it was a product failure and they'll stand behind it. We haven't gotten that. They keep promising us some kind of a letter, but
They're not going to do a letter stating it's a product
failure. Okay, so that's good that we've gotten to that point. They're just saying it's not a product failure. So at that point, they say that we don't have, it's an installation problem. But in their own manual of maintenance and everything else, they say that there is blistering that occurs on these roofs, and they say don't touch them. But if they say go ahead and touch them, the procedure that they have been repairing our roofs is a procedure that they don't even have in their own maintenance manual. It says that you cut them out and you replace the membrane that has been affected and distorted. They have a procedure that they're poking a hole in them, stamping them down with their foot and putting tar back over. So when I asked you to look layman terms, but when I asked you the question at our last meeting, you had said, well, that is a new procedure that they've come up with. Now, I've looked for that procedure in any of their manuals. They don't have that procedure listed. So now that we have dimpled roofs, we don't have them standing behind a product failure, but now we're turning around and we're having roofs repaired as a guinea pig because they have never been tried in any other roofs before. But they're well aware of blistering because they have in their own manual when blistering occurs 1 to 3 inches. We have them 6 inches to a foot round, and they're not following their own protocol. So if they're not going to take the responsibility of the product, I think you're right. We got to go legal because the installer hasn't been the one coming back and repairing it, correct? It's been Tremco. But Tremco won't take responsibility, but he does take a lot of responsibility in the letters that he agrees that it was installation failure, not product failure. So I mean, right now, we should really turn around and let the two of them, the installer, who was awarded the bid, and Tremco, who he bought the product from, let them argue it out. Let them fight it out. Why should we get involved by putting, and listen, I really like that we got new roofs, that we had the opportunity to go with this energy savings plan, but can we go with the, not the solar first, but with the energy saving plan first prior to solar?
Well, the solar savings is huge to make the piece of work.
To make it work.
So if we don't go with the solar, the whole thing is going. And that's
Can't
fine,
we do
that's
the
fine.
solar next year?
What?
Can't we do it after we fix the roofs?
I'm being totally honest. If you want new roofs and you want this zero tolerance, we're not having this by next year. This is going to be a legal battle that whatever, however you want to work this. This is not something they're going to just do. They've made it clear that they want to be a partner. And
This
they're giving
becomes
you-
a legal battle, you're saying?
Not it, it sounds like it's going to be, right? So,
Yeah, we can hope that.
It's just not, no strategy, but yes.
but that's
Well, I
something
don't know if I
we can
say something, if that's strategy.
No, but you just don't want to say, well, we're touched with this, and it's supposed to be fixed, so.
Okay, so now I can't talk.
But then again, Steve, what we have here is that we're doing repairs to a roof that you would do in maybe 15 years, 20 years, and you would say, okay, we get a bubble or blister, that will buy us another 5 years. These are brand new roofs.
Right.
And we're repairing, we don't have brand new roofs, we have repaired roofs. And we don't have blisters that are a few that pop up on roofs. We have hundreds of them throughout 14 roofs. And then the funny thing is that when our expert comes and looks at roofs, he only looks at 3 of the buildings, but it's 14 of them that are being affected. So he comes out, which I'm really not in favor of, our own expert, because he comes out and he makes a determination by only looking at 3 on 14 buildings. I don't know how you do that, but anyway, Tremco did have a conversation with them, a telephone conversation, and Tremco went from one side of the fence all the way to the other, but the installers aren't coming back and repairing it to Tremco. The Tremco won't give us a letter that's a product failure, but they do put in their own manual how to take care of blistering. So I really do believe that what you had stated here several months ago was that they agree that it was a product failure, but they won't put it right. And now even today,
There's a reason they're not using that product anymore. So in my opinion, there was something with that cap sheet that was problematic. And it's outlined in there that there could potentially be moisture that was trapped and this and that.
Well, this one was put down with an adhesive, so it makes more sense. And where Mrs. Griffin was talking about with blisters, we all know fire, gas, and water are probably the strongest things. So when you have this adhesive over a cap and the gases are brewing, that's why you're getting these blisters. We put solar on top of this, and this is what we're concerned over. You're not going to stop that gas. That gas can come, it can pop that outer layer. Once it does that, there's an inlet of water that can enter these roofs. Now it's like, okay, wait a minute. You guys went ahead and did this. Was that caused by a blister? Was that caused by the solar mounting panels? You know, and now we're into, okay, we get mold. We're talking about flat roofs. Flat roofs, water drainage means a lot. So that's where we're looking at. And we're saying, you know what? Listen, $7 million over 15 years on savings on solar, which is a great thing. $24 million over 25 years, and we have to redo these roofs after 15. We're on the losing end. So, you know, we're looking at an
You got a
investment.
20-year warranty, so you wouldn't have to be doing it for
20 years, but let's say they don't last because of all of these repairs. Every time you poke a hole in a roof, you're making an area that is not new anymore. Now it's a repaired area, which can be affected, especially on flat roofs, can be affected of any kind of water, mold, standing, pooling of
Right.
water.
But that's on
You
their,
know,
that's on their warranty.
they say it's on their warranty, but they're not taking responsibility for it. They're saying it's the installer. So now it's 2 more years. And here's the other thing. These roofs were installed in 2 years by 2 different contractors at separate buildings. So to me, 2 different contractors, different times of the years, different buildings, same result is going to be a product failure.
Well, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not arguing with you
Right,
either.
no, but my point is, so what are we trying to get at? So even if it's the product, and they say it's the product, they're still offering, and they've done it, they've gone out and fixed the blisters. They're saying there's no problem if it's solar, which that'll come in writing. They're saying they're gonna do the inspections, they're giving the extended warranty to maintenance. So I guess it's, if that's the point, I'm not understanding.
Here's the point, is when you turn around and you stand up as a manufacturer of a product and you say, which they had said to you, was a product failure, you stand behind it, you go, you know what, I'm gonna put it in writing, it's a product failure, we're gonna warranty these roofs the whole 25 years, no matter what happens, and it's a product failure, they still, to this day, you come into this meeting, they will not give you a letter that says it's a product failure.
No,
But they did
did
give us
say-
a letter that says that they really believe that it was an installation failure. Matter of fact, they say, they guarantee it's an installation failure. Well, I can read it to you. It doesn't say a guarantee. Well, no, it does just about say a guarantee. There, Mr. Broderick, who was the representative of Tremco, Mr. Broderick stated that their investigation has confirmed that the cause of the blistering on the Middletown schools was application error during the original installation that created voids in the adhesive between the bottom and the top layer of the SBS layers.
That's not what the Tremco broke through.
Well, it's just confirming what Tremco had said. Because it says, Mr. Broderick stated, this is our expert.
Right, that's what I'm
This is
saying,
our
that's not
expert.
a letter from Tremco.
No,
Right.
but the thing about it is that our expert now agrees with him, who only looked at 3 roofs, didn't look at all 14, talked with him on a conference call, turned around and got him to say, yeah, I believe it's an installation failure too. So now if we go ahead and move ahead with this project, now we're saying, we haven't even put a complaint into the installer, right? Because he hasn't been coming back and repairing these. It's been Tremco coming back and repairing, but Tremco's not gonna take any liability on the product failure. Now they're saying it's an installation failure. But the installer, we haven't notified them.
Do you have the Tremco letters here too?
No, I asked you for them, you never got them. Remember you were looking for the letter that day and you said Tremco, and then your girl said you didn't get them.
I have,
The original letters.
yes.
We can look at what it says and, you know.
Well,
yeah.
listen, that,
The
I mean,
bottom
that's,
line is that it's really what the board actually want to do. If going back and getting them to agree to repair the blisters and giving you something specific that says if there's a problem, they're going to repair the blisters and reimburse you for any expenses on the solar, if that's not good enough, then I don't even think we waste time going down that path. Let's just get a letter and send it out, legal letter of what you're looking for as a board and pursue it that way.
well, why don't we go, and why haven't we included the installers? Why haven't we been saying to them, here, you bidded this project, you were awarded this project, okay, you used Tremco's product, but why aren't we including them and saying, listen, you're the installer. Now you say, guess what, it's product failure, the installer and the manufacturer, you bought the manufacturer's product, you guys argue about it. Why has it got to be us?
Well, we can do that, and that, we can certainly get both installers involved, and again, it requires a letter from somebody to say,
Sure.
hey, we understand here's an issue, this is what we want, and,
I mean, we have a,
Right, and
legal
then
attorney
the
that,
other thing is, we've been having all these discussions and whatnot with
We've-
Tremco, and they've been
but
taking
listen,
responsibility.
Amy, we've
for
had
what
these
they're doing.
discussions, and Steve, we've had these discussions, and listen, it's bad. Tremco's standing behind it, it's a product failure. Tremco will not give us a letter, even after you talked to me, you said today,
I talked to them, they were in my office Monday.
they were in your office Monday. They both left there, and they said, okay, we're gonna get back to you. But I wasn't at the meeting, but you tell me, did they both leave there and say, guess what, we're gonna go through our legal department, review it, and we're gonna send you something?
Yeah.
Okay, they wanna go to their legal department before they send you something.
Well, they're writing their warranty letter, that's a legal document.
I understand they're writing a warranty letter. We already have a warranty for 25 years. We don't have somebody taking full responsibility for a product that has failed.
Okay, so if you want them to write something saying it's failed, we'll talk to them about doing that. I've been trying to get them to write a letter, I thought the direction was to cover the roof in case the solar, well, in case you had to pay for solar to be removed and reinstalled and fixed because of their.
Well, even in our expert's letter, he says, listen, this is going to continue to happen. I mean, he even says that as the weather gets warmer, you're going to encourage more, you're going to have more blistering of your roofs. I mean, they guarantee it. They say, listen, Tremco says 1 to 3 inch blisters you get on the roofs, don't touch them. Our experts are saying that they're 6 inches to a foot and expect more to appear as the weather gets hotter.
Well, that's what Tremco was saying, they do have guidelines in their specs in their literature that says what size blister should be repaired, because, like you said, it happens, it's just not usually right to the roof, 2% of the roof. So, and again, the long and short of it is whatever the board decides they want to do.
Yeah, well, I'm not here to argue with you. You're our representative, and I really would wish that you would say, listen, they're not giving us what they said they were going to give us. And listen, we got to stop, because we got to get this to protect, you know.
Right, well, again, that's what I thought we were doing, so maybe I misunderstood, but I thought the direction was, we wanted to get something in writing, and another warranty that said, they will repair these blisters or roofing defects and pay you for the solar, reimburse for the solar, should the issue come once the solar goes down. Because the only issue that they've talked about is paying for the solar. They've said from day one, if there's never an issue with your roof, whether it's blister related or not, they're coming back to fix
They
it.
got to take responsibility, because they can't leave a door open for them to go out and say, hey, listen, you're asking for too much, it's the installer. You go after the installer.
They can't do that. It's their roof. They've signed off on the roof. Their warranty covers you from install till 20 years out. That's your warranty you already have. You already have that part.
We have a warranty on a roof, okay, from Tremco's Materials, that they're gonna outlast 25 years.
20 years, yes.
20 years. Tremco will not give us that theirs didn't last 2. They're telling us, listen, here's the warranty, here's the paperwork, it's gonna last 20 years. They haven't lasted 2. And they won't give us paperwork that says, yeah, you're right, it's a product failure.
So how do you back it up to 20?
Right, I mean,
Well, yes, again, in their minds, they fixed the blisters, and you still have a 20-year warranty, and still with the blisters and with the repairs, nothing's leaking. So, that's why so I'm not really sure if.
I think they would love to see us put solar on those roofs right now.
Yeah.
Because once we put it on, they're like,
That's
hey,
it.
guess what? You put solar on, now all of a sudden, and listen, you and me both know, it's not the solar panels, it's the mounting brackets that sit on the roof. Now all of a sudden, they turn around and start saying, hey, the way they too heavy, you designed the mounting bracket, it's not the right mounting bracket. You know, they leave a door open
They have to sign
for
off on it. They physically will review the shop drawings, they will review the roofs, they will review the install. And they have to sign off and give you a letter at the end of the job that everything is intact and installed and has not affected their warranty, that their warranty was in effect.
Okay.
They agreed to all
I love the
that.
warranty, I love
That's
it,
all.
but you want to know what? Just put it in writing that, guess what? We have blisters, we know it's a product defect, and we're gonna stand behind that 100%.
If we get these assurances in writing, and I'm just playing devil's advocate to you, it's not that I agree or disagree, but if we got these assurances in writing, sometimes no answer is a great answer. And do we want to be in a legal battle that will last years to get these roofs done? And in the meantime, we're losing money on solar and putting money towards
I don't think it'll
another
be
legal
years,
battle.
but the one thing that we really have to get to protect ourselves is that they take responsibility that the product has failed from the get-go. The 25 years is great, but not getting into your mounting bracket, 20 years, not getting into your mounting brackets wrong, and I agree, they say that they're gonna come and inspect, and they're gonna look over the designs and this and that. But I really believe that they're dying for us to put that solar up there. I really do believe that. So, without us getting that reinsurance, I don't think it's,
We're not suggesting moving forward unless we get that insurance.
Yeah,
I just have a couple questions. Isn't the dollar figure 12 million, not 7 million? What the solar?
well, between the two of them.
Yes, all of the energy savings, lighting, solar, everything created the $12 million fund.
Right. That's what the RSP
It's 12
is.
million now.
Roughly 12 point something.
Total project.
But the solar part is 7 million,
I don't remember the number.
like 7.
Right, well, it's all tied because you can't. do
Sure,
it.
no, I understand that.
Right, I mean, basically what we said was. we
Well,
can't-
if we don't do the solar, then we're doing only projects that would be financed by the savings from the lighting, basically.
Yeah, but I thought you suggested not to move forward, that we can't put them both together.
Well, right, because then you're going to end up with whatever that balance is. You're going to end up with a $4 million project or whatever the math is versus a $12 million project. So you can do that and just move forward with that.
Explain to me the difference of, if they get the letter that says that their if we get a letter, we get in writing, the second piece of this, which says that anything that is deemed to be caused by these imperfections in the boosters, the imperfections in the that they'll pay for the removal of the solar. So that, what difference does it make if it's product failure versus installation failure? If in fact we have in writing that they're taking responsibility?
Well, right, and I don't agree with it, but that's where I thought we were going. That's why I'm trying to argue on your behalf. Yeah, but it sounds like you want.
The only thing, and I'm just going to add to that, Dr. George, is that you're talking about two different companies. So liability is...
No, you and I said that earlier.
Right.
No, you're only talking about two different companies. If Tremco doesn't take responsibility for the warranty. But I think the big difference here, whether we're talking about product failure or installation failure, if, and we don't have it, this is a very good point. That's why we're not suggesting moving forward at this point.
Nobody is.
I think we're all a little frustrated that we don't have it.
Yep.
Certainly you are after, changing your whole schedule, flying in, flying out. But if we get that piece, that we have that, isn't the other point of view, is my question.
My personal belief on that is no, because without Tremco saying what they said in the beginning, that it's a product failure, right now, yeah, they got a warranty. Their warranty's 20 years. They have that. They're not losing anything by saying, don't worry about it, we're standing behind our warranty. They're going to stand behind their 20-year warranty. The problem is later on down the road, it's not this board any longer. It's not you as Dr. George or Amy Gallagher as the business administrator or Steve from Speedsville. It's a whole other group. They come back and they go, wait a minute. Here, in writing, we showed you was installation. No, we're going to give you a warranty.
No, but they certify.
We're going to give you a warranty.
They
certify. Listen, you can write certification in front of 20 years of that warranty. But the problem is that they come back and they go, wait a minute, that was an installation problem. See, it said here, we're not going to stand behind that. That's an installation problem. Go after the install.
Well, once they certify the warranty, they certify the warranty.
Their warranty's certified. Even once we put that product on our roof, it's certified warranty. They're standing behind their warranty. They have a warranty that says, hey, they're standing behind it. The problem is that they're not taking responsibility for a product failure compared to an installation failure. Because the installation failure is Mr. John's roofing. He bought the product. That Tremco company, they didn't install these roofs. You know, the product, they gave it to the installer, they put them on the roofs. So it's very important that we get them to say, yes, we agree it was a product failure and we're going to stand behind that for our 20 years. That's the difference. That's a big difference, that they do admit that it's a product failure.
But they signed off on the installation of the roofs to begin with. Before, when we originally did the projects, Tremco had to do that in order to issue even the original warranties.
They came and they said, listen, they were installed properly, and they signed off on it. They said, okay, they're installed properly, we're going to stand behind our warranty of 20 years.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying.
But then later on down the road, blistering started
They
coming.
signed off and said that it was installed.
Huh?
That's my point. They did sign off and say it was installed properly, and they have been standing behind the warranties, and they have been giving us additional consideration on.
But then we have paperwork that has been contradicted to where they did say it's a product failure. Now, they won't put it in writing, and they won't put it in writing for a reason.
Well, we're not suggesting moving forward.
No, but that just doesn't cancel out that they certified the installation to begin with.
I can tell you one thing, is that nobody has said to them, and they have not said to anybody, and put it in writing, that it was a product failure. But I can tell you, if you call the installer, he's gonna go, wait a minute, oh, they ain't putting this on me, this is $20-some million.
So we need to clarify what direction exactly that.
My personal thing, I'm only one vote here, is that we get something from Tremco that says it's a product failure, or it is an installation failure. We got our expert that says an installation failure.
What about other
What if Tremco put in writing that they waive the ability to blame installation at a later time? So they put in the writing that they waived any defenses to say it's installation.
You're the lawyer, that's what we're discussing, and anything to protect us later on down the line, if we have something in paper, just like they do.
Because you want to
Well,
know
that's what
what
he
the
does.
history.
So they may not want to admit that it's a product failure in writing, but what if they decide we can't assert any defense and say, blame on installation?
And I understand Tremco don't want to stand behind it, and they probably don't want to say it's a product failure because they got millions of miles of roofs out there. But
Jim,
and it might be that's your expertise.
25 years is a long time.
20, I'm sorry. I keep saying 25. I'm residential, but commercial.
Okay, 20 years still, 20 years is a long time for the other boards that come up, and people to understand the history.
Right.
History gets lost. 20 years, we won't be here, who knows where we're at.
I agree.
You're gonna be here 20 years,
Joe will
not
be
me.
here.
Joe will definitely be here.
But no, it gets lost. I think we need something right now to make good, to make us happy. And it's not that piece of paper to me. I don't know where we're gonna talk, but we're not allowed to talk, right?
Right, but that's, you're on the right,
took the words right out of my mouth.
you're on the right lines, and, Steve, and our attorney, Jeff, and, listen, you get whatever you gotta do to protect us to move forward. Because, listen, the taxpayer was very nice to us. They gave us a referendum.
That's right. We're spending it, and now, they, no, this
What
man
worries
already
me
took the
about
words.
the move to litigation is we're usually the only people that make money in litigation.
I agree, but this one here is something that.
I think this is.
I think Tremco,
I didn't mean that.
if we don't address this, my concern is that there's too many
Saying
people
that,
go
that's
up.
why we're not
But
looking
if we
to
do
move forward.
address it, and if everybody is, because they flew out, they came to see Steve, and they said, we're gonna go back to our legal department, we're gonna write you something. It's a good door that they've already opened. They're going to their legal department, we go to ours, confer with them.
Class action suits on this stuff?
Not that we're aware of.
I mean, I'm sure they didn't only put it in the Middletown School District, that it must be elsewhere.
That's something.
Well, I mentioned that last time. I personally have 3 or 4 other clients that have similar issues.
Oh, so what are we doing then? Was it the installer or was it the product? It's definitely the product.
Well, that's why I said I believe it is
Right,
the
no,
product.
I believe you.
But nobody asked them to put that in writing. They just accepted the repair.
Okay, so maybe we have to get with the other school districts that use it too, then maybe we have to do something here and go a little further, because it's not only, we're losing solar, whatever the power, we're losing a lot of money here.
And to that point, so what we said here was that we have to make sure that we have in writing that they're going to stand behind
I'm past
the
the writing.
20-year.
We'll let the attorney. He'll
But
know.
I'm past the writing.
You're
I
past the
don't want-
writing, but what is it that you want?
I'm not allowed to talk out here, they told me.
No, you just said, don't ask, don't.
Joe said-
Don't
Joe
ask
said-
them and ask them something, but you
What
want to
new
settle
rules?
something.
What can, that's it, that's the bottom line, it's just new
No,
rules.
Joe, I want more than new roofs. There's a problem here, because getting new roofs gives us up, he said, we can't do solar, we lose that money. So we have more than just roofs, we have roofs plus, because what did it just do to our school district? We had a lot of money riding on this.
Took money away from us.
And we just lost a lot.
Our own consultant's report did not say that we shouldn't move forward with the solar.
I understand, but the reason we're not moving forward is everything that Jim said why we're not moving forward, because of the problem. Our consultant could have said whatever he wants. At this point, we have a situation. We're putting a Band-Aid on something and then moving forward and leaving it to future boards, and I'm not comfortable with that. And I think we're due, what's the word, is it restitution or whatever? We're due something. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. We're due something here, more than just new roofs. They did a big injustice to Middletown.
What our consultant did say was that the process of installing these panels can damage the roofing.
Right, well, that's true anywhere, but Tremco is also.
But if we got a problem and then it damages it on top of it,
Right.
we're worse off.
What I was trying to say is, Tremco is
We don't
also
have somebody, I know it's
supposed to be involved, well, they
Our
could be
expert says
involved in.
installation, so.
There's a lot. I don't want to talk over them.
I'm sorry. It's okay. It's talking over people.
Right.
Say that again. All right, please say your point.
Right, that's, Tremco it would be involved in the installation of the solar panels. They would be making sure, and the solar company will also have to be making sure that the warranty that Tremco has given would not be impaired in any way. So that is specific in our bid specs, that would be a required part of the process.
I mean, there's no guarantees of anything. And so, you know, if you ask any roof manufacturer, they're going to tell you they prefer solar not to be on their roof, right? So any product could potentially have a problem, you know. But the issue is, I found the one letter. There's two letters that they sent. I found the one letter. I mean, just briefly, it says Tremco Roofing has and continues to maintain the various minor blister conditions on the roofs. Middletown schools are primarily cosmetic in nature. Now, he uses the word primarily. Tremco has committed to take voluntary actions using a blister injection method and upgrade the existing warranties to include inspection and maintenance. Tremco took these actions as an investment in their long-standing relationship with Middle Township Schools and Spiegel Architecture, as well as to reassure both parties that we are comfortable that the roofs in question will perform as intended, and in parentheses, for the length of the warranty. At this time, I would like to reiterate the same level of confidence and also indicate that we believe these roofs are suitable to receive solar installation. So we have in writing that he's saying they're suitable for solar. However, Tremco believes that close coordination between the solar contractor and local Tremco technical team is required, which they are requesting and required and are in the spec to happen. We are happy to work with your team on any details that have direct interfaces with the roof or penetrations of the roof. So again, they're offering to do this and not charging you to coordinate with the solar. And then regarding the part about the solar, so regarding your additional request for Tremco to pay for costs for solar panel removal and loss of solar power production, should we need to gain access to the roof for any repairs. I would say we are willing to work with you on a situation-by-situation basis, but not change our warranty documents any further. So that's where we took, what's that?
I'm sorry, what was the date of that?
March 27th.
Okay, because April 17th, it says, from our independent consultant, the roofs were heavily blistered. From minor blistering
We did tell Tremco, we did not agree with that
Right,
statement.
and this is what prompted it, because we went back to them exactly, and we said, we don't agree with this being minor, okay? We also said to them where they talked about situation by situation basis, they would inspect it and they would yield a leak fee-free performance for the length of the warranty. So again, they put a lot of things in writing in this letter, but where they fell short was, you know, again, we felt that they didn't, you know, at their discretion, they're going to do these repairs. So we didn't like that word. Minor repair, minor blisters. It's not minor. There's thousands.
Well, they're calling it minor, but Steve, the other thing is like, and when you do talk to Tremco, why are they not following their own guidelines and their own manuals on repairing dimples to roofs? And they don't put it in there. They say, oh, we're repairing them. But by their own manual of repair on blistering, they say you cut it out, and then because the membrane has been distorted. Now, they're not doing that with our roofs. They're poking a hole through them or drilling. You know, we'll use
No, yeah, they're putting a hole, they're heating it
putting a
up,
hole,
and
and they actually say that they stamp it down. You know, and I think one of the things is like
So
stamp
again,
down with your foot.
That's your consultant, that's not what they said.
Well, he had the conversation with him, so I'm only going by what he's putting in writing because we haven't seen anything from Tremco. But they're not even following their own guide. So when they turn around and they say, these are the repairs that we're doing, and we're going to stand behind them, I mean, they're not even doing what they tell everyone else that buys their product how to repair it. They're not following that guidelines. And there's nowhere in any of their books that says that's the proper way to repair their roof.
Right, because this is something they've been doing recently over the last few years because of the blistering problem we've had.
Well, what other roofs do they have that they use that procedure? Because this booklet of theirs is not that old. I mean, this is Tremco's Roofing Building Maintenance.
Yeah,
How old is that?
That's what I'm saying, it's not that old because this product, the SBS product, comes from Canada and it's one of their newest products put out this 2014.
So I would say that's about when we found out they were having problems, 2015-ish, in that range. So I don't know. I don't know why they don't have a procedure yet. They've been exploring options on the best way to do this. They felt that this was the best way to do it, that was not cutting actually all these holes. That's made for if you have a blister on a roof.
Well, even our expert does say on his that there is no cutouts on the roof. When he went and he looked at the roofs, he says in his that there was no cutouts on the roofs.
Well, they didn't cut any.
There were no roof cuts as part of the investigation. I do not believe any such cuts are needed to satisfy my investigation needs for this assignment.
Right, that's two different things. So when
I
you're fixing a
understand, but
blister, that
he
was,
does know that to really inspect that roof is you have to cut out that product to look underneath it. I mean, we're sitting here and I love one of the things that they put in here was that this is due to moisture. This isn't due to moisture. This is due from an adhesive. It's a hot patch of adhesive underneath these things that they have done.
I can't speak for why you broke away.
No, I
can say that generally, my understanding from talking to Tremco is that those repairs are made, let's say you have a roof and you have your 5-year, you got a blister that pops up, you cut it out and you repair it. This situation, as you all know, when you have that many blisters, right, it's different. So what they're saying, we don't want to put 100 holes on the roof and cut them out. We want to find a better way to adhere this without causing long-term problems, and this is the solution that they've come up with. They've done this in other districts, and I can get you, you had mentioned, what are these other districts? I can tell you what those districts are that are going through the same situation, that have accepted this or are moving forward with their plan of attack and waiting to see that. If you want to call them or reach out to them like you mentioned, I can get you those.
Well, I understand because we have hundreds on roofs. So yeah, you don't want to cut out each individual, but how about take up that layer and let's put down the new one?
Again, we can
That's,
put a
you
letter
know,
together.
because I think by us even poking holes all over the place
Right.
and filling them is leaving us an area which now we paid for new roofs and we have repaired ones now. Now we have majorly repaired roofs.
We've mentioned to that because again, when we thought, it's not like I just didn't try to get stuff. They came back and they came up with this solution. They wanted to try to do this. They basically, you read the email, they're very comfortable. They're saying it's suitable for solar. There's no need to do that because by ripping that off, you potentially damage the layers below, and now you're creating a bigger problem in their mind, okay, in their defense, what they're saying. I don't know that to be true. I have seen when you try to remove roof layers like that I have seen problems with it, but that's what they're saying so much that it would cause a problem. They did in one instance in a neighboring town, right? We can use but another district. I don't want to say district names. Right. They went through their roofs and they had a problem in 3 schools. Look, you guys are a big district. They haven't had this major problem on 15 schools anywhere because they haven't done that many schools on one district, right? So this particular district had 3 different schools, I believe it was, that had problems. 2 of them, they used this injection method and they repaired them and it's been happy. It's been almost a year and there's been no problem. As a matter of fact, that district now is using them on another project moving forward. So it's just what they did. But there was one roof area that they did deem to be worse, and they did repair that layer and put a new patch. Okay, so that's the only school that I know this happened on. It was a higher roof based on what was done. They determined that needed to happen. Everywhere else in that district and in the other 2 districts, they did this injection or heat method or whatever, however they work. And they seem to be holding. And again, I haven't been up on these roofs to see what they are. We're trying to schedule this inspection to see, but that's what they're telling me. So the long and short of it is the board has to make a decision that says, this is what we want, period, end of story. If you don't get it, this is our next step. And I'll fight and do whatever you guys tell me to do. I'll ask for whatever you want me to ask for. I'll write a letter if you want me to ask. I don't have a problem doing that. I just need clear direction, on what you want me to say.
Let me ask you a question. We hired you as an expert throughout this whole process, and we've had these problems, and it just seems to be getting more and more that the board is finding out more and more. We're getting to where it's not several, now it's 100, now it's 14 roofs. But you, as an engineer, correct? Architect engineer, that you designed the specs for these roofs. Now, would you agree with me that when you have to drill a hole through a membrane of a roof that are flat roofs, let's keep that in mind, flat roofs, that now we have turned around and we're damaging something that we're looking for it to last 25 years, though the warranty's 20. We would hope it would last 30. But wouldn't you say by compromising the membrane of that roof product, that we have now ordered that the lifespan of it is not really going to last that long? So we would actually have to say, let's protect ourselves so that we do get at least that 20. Because I don't have any confidence that these roofs are going to go 25 or 30, even though your residents, they give you a 25 year on your roof, and sometimes they go 30 or 35. These roofs here, I mean, we both got to agree to say, listen, these are not what we paid for. We bought new roofs, we now have repaired ones, and we actually could seriously have a compromised one that we just can't let go by.
So, just to answer your question, I don't know that they're not going to last 20 years. I can't say that. I mean, all I can tell you is that based on what the manufacturer's telling me, they're confident they're providing more. As far as putting a hole in the roof, I think that is less intrusive than cutting and patching. But I do think, yeah, obviously, if you have a membrane, you can put, whatever, 100 holes, 50 holes, pump it. But what happens is it's definitely repair. But there's nothing to say that that repair isn't going to last 20 years. Okay? So, yeah, I would agree that you wouldn't want to have to put 100 holes in your roof, and this isn't an ideal situation by any means. So, the first thing we said when we talked to them is, can we replace the membrane, the top sheet? What can we do with that? And that's where we got to this whole idea that, look, we're standing behind it, we think this is the way to go, we think it's going to cause more problems. As the manufacturer holding your warranty and responsible for fixing any problem you have related to the roof, this is what we're recommending. So that's why we think we're...
Well, I understand that, but I think maybe now at the point in time is that the attorney, keep him in the process of talking through this, because if they're going to their legal department and they're not giving you...
Well, their legal department writes the warranty.
I understand.
So now we're asking them to change their warranty. Like the other warranty they gave you
We're
was...
not asking them to change it, and they have never represented to change the warranty. They just said, we're going to stand behind it for 20 years.
We are asking them to change their warranty.
What are you asking them to change it?
To state in their warranty that, because their warranty for solar states that any issue related to the solar, related to the roof, that they have to then remove the solar panels.
Okay. That's on the solar side.
Right.
I'm talking about on the roof side. I
The roof
understand
side,
the
their
solar.
warranty already covers it. So what we're asking them to do
The
is...
warranty covers the roof, but it doesn't say. It covers a normal wear and tear of a roof. That's what they cover. They have not come back and said, listen, we did have a problem with this job, it is a product situation, and we're going to stand behind that too.
All right, good. So just send me the language. Do you want me to write something or go back to it? Do you want to write something and go back to whatever you guys decide?
Remind us of the board not make a decision now. Let's you do the walkthrough. Let's go back to them and see what they'll put in writing, and then make the decision then.
Yeah, just to protect us for future boards, that's what.
But I just want to understand. So the two things they want in writing, besides the warranty on the solar, that they'll pay for the solar if that roof is damaged under blisters. You also want them to be in writing that it's a defect in the material. But I also heard that we just want a new roof. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Listen, if they're going to stand behind the warranty and they're going to take responsibility on the product, then moving forward on their repairs, and they certify that they're repairing the roof to the point of it's not coming out of their manual, and you say this is a new procedure, and this is the procedure that they recommend because they're the ones that are doing it. You're saying it's not the installers that are doing it, it's Tremco's coming back and doing it, correct?
Correct.
So,
They wouldn't come back if they didn't think that.
Jim, just so I'm clear, are you suggesting that they should cut out each blister and...
I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying, listen, I don't want them cutting out anything, I don't want them drilling holes in anything. I'm just saying that their maintenance of their roofs, when these blisters occur, so obviously it's been in the product that they have blisters that occur, they have a procedure on how they should be repaired. And they're not following their own procedure that their manual.
Or it's an outdated, or the manual.
The manual was done in 2014, this product came out in 2000, right around 2014.
Issues with the blistering started to occur after that.
But this product is a fairly new product. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you exactly when this product was made.
But that product that you're looking at is the actual half sheet that's down?
Yeah.
I would be less comfortable with hundreds of cuts in the roof. That's just
I'm only
personal.
going by what they say. No, I agree.
It's-
I agree. I don't want to cut and I don't want to drill.
Well, the bottom line is we just have to, discuss conversation, we just have to make sure that they're using the most updated procedure, right? That's what
Yes.
we're saying.
And this could be,
Right. That's what we're.
I don't know if we're still clear on what we're exactly trying to
I think the message is the board is not happy, and we want them to put something further in writing, so we can consider it.
Which is what we've been working on.
We need to
But
see
if
what you'll
there's
do, the
something
walkthrough
else
and inspection.
specific,
And we'll continue this discussion.
Amy, take responsibility that it's a product failure. If they don't want to say that it's a product failure, then we have to step back and talk again.
Or Mike, at least waive,
Or, like you said,
waive the right to.
your lawyering way that they can't get out of it later on to say, hey, it was installation, we told you it was installation, 5 years from now, they come back and go, we're all done. That's not a warranty.
Protection for future boards.
Absolutely. The next part, yes. Absolutely. So Steve, Amy and I will reach out to you and provide some information.
Okay. But like I said, whatever the board decides, I'm here to support you. I've had the conversations back and forth with Tremco already. I've met with them a number of times. This is all work that we're working on to help resolve the issue to the satisfaction of the board.
Thanks, Steve. There's actually two more items. One of them is a voting agenda item, and that is the approval of an agreement with Monmouth County Links Agency. They have sent us an agreement. It's a group of county agencies, and essentially what the agreement is asking for is that various agencies make available certain facilities in the event that there was a public health emergency response plan was needed, and in an emergency situation, it would be to provide mass dispensing sites for medications, vaccinations, etc. They are asking for the use of High School North. Actually, the agreement says High School North. I have had further conversations with Charlie Rogers. He's their emergency person in the township, and he said if we could also add High School South to that too, that they would rather that. So again, it would just be an agreement that we would sign that in the case of such an public health emergency, that we would avail those facilities to them and allow them to dispense medications. So we would just need to board approve that before we could execute it. I mean, it's us. They're asking for buildings from the county, the township, and that's what this is for.
Is it for use of it?
What's that?
Is it for our town, as far as the people in our town?
Well, it would be for, yeah, I mean, right.
Residents of our town.
Yeah,
That's what I'm concerned.
I know Charlie well, he's been
I
in
know
the program
Charlie.
for a while,
Right.
and this is not new, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be limited to Middletown. It may be residents in the area.
Right.
It's a countywide initiative. So, there may be people in neighboring towns that would have to come here together. Middletown's a big town, obviously, with facilities and everything. So, it doesn't say in here that it would only service Middletown residents. It's a countywide initiative. So,
This is in case of emergency.
in the case of a public health emergency.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So that's what that item is. Another thing we wanted to touch on is we've been talking with the facilities department. We had an item on here for information item, facilities equipment storage. We've been talking over the last several months about the need for storage of grounds equipment, our larger grounds equipment. We don't have a facility or anything for that in the area of Middletown South. So what we'd like to do is construct something that we could store larger equipment so it wouldn't have to be transported around town, that we could keep things in that area of town as well as, over by Middletown North. It would involve putting down a concrete slab, a small storage, a storage building and a door. All three of those items together would be approximately $59,000 that we would be looking for to do that. We have some funds available in this year's budget that we could use toward that. John, I know you've been patiently sitting here. I don't know if you want to add to that at all, or...
Yeah, we would like to use the storage area. Right now, everything we have is stationed at High School North in our compound area. So during storms and things of that nature, we're towing equipment from there to the south side of town to clear sidewalks and things of that nature. What we want to do is, we have a storage container out there now. It's very small. We keep a lot of our smaller ground equipment in there to maintain baseball fields and things like that. We just want to have an area on both sides of town where we can utilize.
Now, is that building, the structure of that building's gonna be a,
It's like a quantum
prefab?
we're looking to do. Just a general cement slab. I think it's 20 by 30 we're looking at doing, and a steel rounded building with a big door, garage door.
Would it be similar
We
security?
were looking at putting it, we were talking to Pat Panero about this, and then we were looking at putting it over by the bubble area towards the back there. And then, I don't know if you're familiar, when you go into the back part of South, you can see to your right there is actually a storage container that's there now. We were gonna give that to the phys ed department, because they would want to utilize that for their stuff, so. And it helps us out too, as you go around back, there's also a ramp that goes down underneath the building. We're constantly forced to make sure our storage for gas containers and things of that, we can't keep anything like that stored there. This building would help us clear that mess up too.
So it would be something that we would be looking to move forward with. They would be in different pieces, the concrete slab, the building, and the door.
And you said there's money in the budget, we budgeted for this already, or?
It wasn't specifically budgeted, but in reviewing the facilities budget, there are funds that we can make available to allocate for it. So, it's something that we wanted to move forward with.
Why wasn't this brought up at budget time?
Because we weren't specifically budgeting it for next year. What we talked about is if we had some funds available this year, we would try to, cover it that way. It's not something that was, we felt that we needed to specifically include in next year's budget. We wanted to try to do it this year. We've been reviewing, seeing if there are funds available, and there is, so.
Say 20 by 30, $59,000, very expensive, but the benefits of having it outweigh the cost, I think. I mean, I just, having that equipment over there, just leaving, because over here, we're pretty much to almost, we looked to put a building over here bigger to hold all that stuff, and we never did that. We didn't put money in the budget for that, so that was $300,000. This is $59,000, but it gives our maintenance department, a little bit of relief, and transportation and this and that during storms. I mean, we'll probably make back the $59,000, I think, but.
It's not something we really have to put on an agenda, because the pieces all together, we can move forward with the various pieces to put the project together, but we did want to discuss it under our facilities committee.
It just sounds kind of small. It's only
20 by
600 square
30.
feet.
That's
very small.
That's what they thought would be adequate.
Well, that's probably what, you're gonna put it in like snow blowers, things like that?
Yeah, we're gonna put like one of our backhoes, one of the older ones we're gonna buy on that side of town. Smaller equipment like our grounds equipment that we use for maintaining baseball fields. Right now, we have to load it in the back of the trailer, bring it over to the south side of town, do our cutting, then bring everything back down over this side.
Do you have room for expansion? Like I said, it's a little small, but if we do, we do a little bit at a time.
Well, it's for me to hand you the table.
Right.
Yeah, it's really good.
Thought that would suit their needs.
Room for a bathroom?
Oh, no bathroom.
Then you put a kitchen in too.
Very basic.
Very basic. So, I mean, unless there's a strong objection to it.
Well, it's in an area for expansion too, and Mike's got a good point that later on down the road to add on to it.
Okay, can we move on to finance?
Yes, that's everything under facilities. Under finance, I just wanted to call the board's attention to the fact that we have several items under the agenda for reorganization, the appointment of professionals, under student services and other professionals, and also the various roles within the district that we have to appoint official representatives or liaisons to. We also have bus evacuation drills for the second half of the year on the agenda. We have the safety grant that we just talked about. There are some other bids that will be on the agenda for things such as fencing and masonry and bids that we do on an annual or semi-annual basis. We also have on the agenda for this month our health insurance renewals that we did talk about in the process of the budget. We have finalized those. The medical and the prescription represents, like we had stated, a 15% increase over last year. The dental is down 9%, and we have reflected that reduction when we revised the budget, when we did the final budget in April. I also have drafts of the financial reports, which I can have people take one and pass down. We will post final ones in the portal on Friday. So, and that's all I have under finance.
Any questions? Move on to student activities and services, Mary Ellen Walker.
She was working that good. Sit down.
Oh, they're two different ones.
We just have a couple items. There's a research study on the agenda. It's one of our teachers, Matt Garofalo at Harvey Kindergarten teacher doing his doctorate. He's going to be looking at the identified data that the principals are going to supply him to just look at the gains in literacy scores of the kindergarten learners that went to a private preschool, public preschool, or no preschool at all. So that's what he's going to be doing. We are looking to purchase a security vehicle for our security supervisor. We think that this is really important. I mean, he's in his vehicle all day, going around to all different schools. He does that anyway, but then he responds to emergencies. Every time there's a 911 call, he goes to the school. He does investigations and surveillance for members of attendance or residency. Also, he can be using it, he'd be able to carry security and safety type of items in his car, like the trauma bag, there's a ballistic shield, which is really big, and like traffic equipment, cones, flares, and stuff like that. He'll also be able to use this vehicle to help direct traffic when there's different kinds of, it happens all the time, like emergency situations, a tree goes down and it blocks an entrance to, or an exit to one of the schools. We have to redirect, arrival and dismissal. There might be a little accident, sometimes there's wires down. So he'll be able to use the car for that. And also having an official school vehicle will give us greater access to the Navy Road. And, if there's an emergency and we have to get there back and forth. So we think that this is something that's going to, really enhance what he can do for the district. You hear me press a lot, it's going to help a little bit more.
Was this in the budget?
Yeah, that's my question. It's coming up with all this stuff after the budget.
It's not something that we included in the 17-18 budget. It was, again, one of these items that we had been discussing, that if funds were available and things to come in under budget for this year, that we would consider moving forward with. And that's what we're looking at right now.
I think the
Where's
way
the
we're
cost,
going
Mary Ellen?
to next question.
Well, that's that's what I'm going to ask the cost of it, what, going through the state agency, how much
It's
does that
about
cost?
$25,000 for a 4-day interceptor for a state contract.
It's not the money for me, it's the point that we just went through a budget process and this wasn't brought up as a concern to us. Or even something that you say you've been talking about it, but we didn't hear about this through the budget process. Maybe we would have said, hey, make sure it's in there.
For years, pretty much.
But we haven't heard it.
Yeah,
Right,
no, but
you might
I'm just
be
gonna,
talking about it.
but we've always said, like, wasn't, like, it didn't make our priority list for the budgeted items, but if there was enough savings during the year and we had some money, we could put that in our priority list of things we could do, right?
If we could realize savings in some other areas and we could,
It just bothers me. We just went through the budget process, and even if it was something that didn't make your list, it didn't come up in any of our conversations.
But it's not for the budget next year, it would be in this budget.
Yeah, I get it,
Correct.
but you said it didn't make, you just said it didn't make your budget list this year. But if it was a consideration, at least
Well,
talk to
there's
us
so
about
many
it.
things that
And
our
I-
administrators ask for that don't
and I
make
do
the
think
budget.
that we have discussed it in past years, we didn't discuss it this year.
I've
but
never
it is
discussed
something
the
that,
security
I don't recall a discussion
No.
about that. But
Well-
it's just a little disappointing.
That it's not,
Okay.
wasn't in our budget process.
Hold it, let's just sit back and think about it. It's an asset to our district to identify we got security and everything else. But now if you're looking at a budget of $170 million and you have some little bit of excess of money from last year, if you have, whatever they come up at the end of the year, you're always going to have a little bit over. So, or you could be under. If we're fortunate enough that they found some money and they're putting it to good use, well, we got to look at it instead of saying, hey, it wasn't in the budget, it wasn't here, it wasn't here. I mean, we're dealing with $170 million, and if at the end of the year, where we're at, I'm imagining that they've calculated out and saying, hey, we got a little bit of savings here, we can do this and this.
well, that's a
That's all
process
fine
we're
and
going
dandy.
through.
Well, I understand that's always going to happen.
We always used to get a priority list of what could happen if there's extra money. It wasn't even a topic of discussion, that's what I'm saying. How do we know now next month something else is going to come up, and I'm sure it will. But we could have had the discussion and made a priority list of, okay, you know what, if we have money, these are things we want to make sure we get done. I mean, just like we talked about, and I'm saying that the security vehicle isn't a good idea. I'm just disappointed that it's not in our budget discussions, whether it made the budget or it didn't. Because there's a lot of things that we said that we'd like to see if we had leftover money, like, and I know it's big ticket item, like the art section at South and different things around town, but we talked about those things.
Well, I
These are
understand.
things
I
that we're not
understand.
talking about,
I
and we
understand
keep
what
hearing
you're
we've
saying,
been
but
talking about it for
we did-
months.
well,
We haven't.
I know when I was president, I talked about getting a security vehicle in the district because I thought when we did it as the security director and those positions that when he had to run to a building, and a matter of fact, at the time, I had brought it up to Dr. George, and he felt that we didn't need it at that time. But the thing about it is that the more and more that we're getting so much into security with these buildings, this is going to be an asset that's only going to help our district and help our kids and get somebody on scene, can talk, but can get there safely too, because you would have, I would imagine that you would have something like Brookdale College has, right? A car that resembles Middletown, but it says Middletown Schools on it. Like they do at Brookdale, they have a car with police, Brookdale College.
In fairness though, before we get the debate, that's just being about security, that wasn't.
No,
They don't have a problem with security.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to say that, hey, it is a good thing that you are using the money to this, and we had found some money that we're able to do it, and I do understand your point too, Joan, believe me, I
Yeah, it's
do.
not that.
It's not that, and I do agree that in the future, looking forward, that we should probably bring
We
some of
sat
these
here
things
before
up.
talking about security things, and now we found money in this year's budget to put money towards that. So we have that money, now we have this money. How much money do we have? Maybe we
Well, I
should have
think
been
you're
looking
talking-
forward to spend it,
Still
looking to
less than
spend this money.
$100,000.
When we had the other security discussion, the money we were talking about was next year's security grant. That's what we were talking about, safety grant. It was next year's safety grant we were talking about.
And this year, John does get mileage, so there is a cost for him running around the district in his own vehicle. So that will offset, he won't get that anymore, so that will kind of offset over the next few years, the life of this vehicle, how much savings we have for not paying him for his mileage, the wear and tear.
Did he get paid for mileage?
I
I want to know his case. I want to know who got paid his mileage.
But he's out and about.
I know, he submits every month because.
Yeah.
We have an issue there.
That's a lot of mileage.
We have at least an hour of closed session, and it's 11 o'clock, and we still haven't given the public time to talk, so I think we kind of. Mr. Cavaletti might have something to say.
Just a little bit,
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you, today we had our Safe Schools Committee meeting. I want to thank Ernie and Andy for coming out to that meeting. We had teachers, administrators, secretaries, parents at that meeting. It was nice, and they reviewed, I don't know if you've ever heard anything about the 13 reasons why is the Netflix controversial show that was on, like, any series, and it kind of glorified suicide, and, you know, Tom Letson came and talked about some of the talking points parents could use with their kids because kids are watching it. So that was really informative, and it was appreciative, and I did a comparison of our violence and vandalism numbers from the first half of the year this year to last year, and John did his security update, so that was a nice meeting. Thanks for coming.
Andy or Ernie, have anything to add to your meeting?
I just thought it was very well done, appropriate time to talk about it. I just know from my own experience, my own school district, it was addressed, memos went out to parents. I know a lot of school districts have addressed this series on Netflix. You know, our students, you know, they're going to watch it. You know, and, Mr. Weston said middle school students are even watching it. And it's, I mean, I watched it myself. It was pretty intense. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, a 13-year-old or 14-year-old watching it, not being somewhat traumatized by it. So it was informative. I was glad to Mr. Weston speak on it.
Yeah, and at a future board meeting, Mr. McGuire is going to give us our security updates, you know, things that have been implemented this year, and also Mel will give us the violence and vandalism report. She reported like period 1 month half the year. When the second half of the year is done, which is coming up in June, then she'll give the full report to the board. And,
Okay, move on to old business. Anyone have any old business? New business? Anybody have any new business? Okay, we'll open the floor to public comment. Mr. Cavaletti, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Higgins. I need a motion to go back into executive session to discuss matters of personnel.
so moved.
All in favor? Aye. Talk to George.